Hey, good afternoon and good morning and good evening, regardless of where you're at. We're happy to have you here on the Comic Art Live channel, and second time this weekend on a Sunday. So it's a pleasure to have so many of you back for another round of chat and art for sale with another creator. This time, Joseph Michael Linsner. I can't wait to talk with Joe. It's been probably, I think the last time we had him on the show was back in September of 2021. So it's been 9 months. So we've got a lot of catching up to do. But before we get started with the show, I wanted to go over the ground rules for how we're going to handle art sales. As you know, we're working with Third Eye Comics on this one for fulfillment. So as with the sale we did yesterday and any sale that we do with Third Eye, you're actually going to be emailing them rather than claiming artwork in the chat. And I know claiming art in the chat is usually how we handle a lot of the sales on here. But for today, you'll be emailing them directly, and the address that you'll need to email is nicole@thirdeyecomics.com. When you send that email in, including your subject, at least the name Linsner, please. Linsner Art Sale preferred, but Linsner works for us too. In the body of the email, please include the lot number and your name. First person to email Nicole will get a reply stating that you did get the artwork. And if you didn't get a reply, then you know that you didn't. So we won't be showing the artwork lots in rapid fire. So you'll know that you didn't get the artwork before we move on to the next lot. So that gives you some time to, know that you didn't get the lot that you were looking at or hoping to get. And you can think about the subsequent lots that we show during the show. And as far as shipping and handling, all the prices that you're going to see today do not include shipping and handling. Domestic shipping is $20, and international shipping, which we do allow international art sales, just so you know, is $50 as well. So keep that in mind when you're placing your claims today as well. And so outside of that, let's get this show on the road. Joe is in the green room, and welcome to the show, Joe.
Hey,
Schmo,
that's me. Schmo Prime.
Yeah, exactly. So how you been, man? It's been, like I said, it's been 9 months since we got to hang out.
Yeah, and that actually went by really fast. It doesn't feel like 9 months.
I know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it feels like it might have been like November, December when we last did this thing, but it wasn't. It was September like 9th or something. So yes, been a while.
And actually, I can't believe how fast this year's going by. I mean, I feel like Christmas was like 2 months ago, and it's like, what? It's summertime?
Yeah, I know, and it's already feeling like it's going to be. For me, I've got so much stuff going on, and for the rest of this month, and I'm going to go to San Diego now. I may have a trip to Europe in August. So now I feel like I'm not going to have any free time or me time until September now. This year is going by way too fast.
Well, didn't you say you're going to be at Heroes Con?
I am going to be at Heroes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to be there. I haven't been there in 2 years. I'm really looking forward to it.
As am I. It's that, we've like for 9 months, probably around like last September, I started talking about, Heroes is going to be the first show that I go to, and it ended up not being, but we just started kind of planning that was going to be a big get together for art collectors. And so it's going to be pretty impressive. I believe it will probably have at least 200 to 250 CAF members there. We started putting together a get together on Thursday, and it got so popular that it became the Heroes kickoff party. So There's actually going to be a formal event on Thursday that is really more or less, it's a hero event now, but it's probably going to be 70% art collectors from CAF and the channel going to be there. So it's going to be fun at a retro gaming bar, no less. So we'll all get to see how good we are at Pac-Man or Galaga and those sorts of things.
Bring your quarters.
So, but yeah, so Heroes, I can't wait to get to see in person. It's been a long time. I think when we talked last, I reminded you that you were probably the first artist that ever bought a con sketch or a commission where I actually walked up to somebody and said, I'd like you to do a piece of art for me. And it was at Heroes, and it was a Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
And I don't own it anymore. I hate to say it. When I built that golf course, I sold it, but I always remember it. And I have tons of pictures of it because I've got photographs from around the office different times. And I always see that up on the wall, and I'm like, man, I should never have gotten rid of that.
So do you have a long list of things that you've let go that you regret?
I have a very, very long. Yeah. When I built that golf course, I sold about $100,000 worth of original comic art.
Wow.
So yeah.
So was that actually a good investment? Were you able to like
Well,
the money
as
in
it
versus the
turns
money you got out of it? Was it
as it turns out, sure. I mean, I made back, I don't know, uh, like 250,000, say, when I sold it. But that was primarily, I'd say I got most of that money back from the property that we bought, that appreciated, as properties have in the last couple of years. So I made more when I sold that, I think, than the business. Business was kind of more of a break even, but there were so many construction costs and improvements on property and stuff. So I can't really say where did that 100,000 go.
right?
When I sold
Right.
the art, I just had a pool of money that I had to spend on, getting that place ready to have people play around on it. So, but yeah, at the end of the day, sure, I made it back. But I'd rather have the art. I really would. I had some really great Frank Whiteley pieces, a few Adam Hughes pieces that I really regret. John Byrne X-Men. So you name it. There was a lot of really.
What was the John Byrne X-Men stuff?
Oh gosh, I had a page from like 135. I had a page from, I think, 127. So Proteus, Dark Phoenix Saga.
Wow.
Um, yeah, you
That's the
name it.
stuff. That's the stuff, man. Wow.
It was, well, but back then it was like, so this is '08. That was in a time when we were collecting. We just thought, oh yeah, there's gonna be more art at those prices, right? I was buying Burn pages around then for like 3 to 5,000, 2,500, something like that, and now they're at 25 to $30,000. So yeah, it was a different time collecting back then. I kind of was fearless, just assuming I'd be able to replace it all. But then, but in '08, of course, everything crashed. So it was bad timing for me all around. So, but enough about me and my mishaps in business over the years. I think you just went to a con last weekend, right? You were in Pittsburgh.
Yes, I was in Pittsburgh for the Three Rivers Con, which
Mhm.
is run by Todd McDevitt, who owns New Dimension Comics in Pittsburgh. And yeah, it's a great show. It's a smaller show, and it was my first show since January 2020. And I of course pulled back from everything due to COVID. But
Right.
now things are getting a little safer. More people have got their shots and everything. I've got my shots, my boosters and everything. So, you know, attempting to return to life before the plague. Life, the wheels have to keep turning. So, yeah, it was great.
Right.
It was great going out and, I've said this before that, artists, comic artists, we work in isolation and then we send it out there into the world. And I'm always jealous of musicians or actors who perform on stage because you get immediate feedback. And one of
Sure.
the things I love about doing conventions is getting to talk to people and find out what they liked, what they didn't like, and it's a very positive thing. It's something I really enjoy, and I've missed it.
Now, was that your first con? Because I know you had told me in an email maybe a month ago that you had gone to like a free comic book day at a shop, but
I done Free Comic Book Day at Dr. No's in Georgia,
Mhm.
run by Cliff Biggers, fantastic shop, and that was kind of like a little teaser interaction with the public. But this was a full 2-day show, and then in a couple of weeks, going to be at Heroes Con and in Charlotte, which is always a fantastic show. Always have a great time there.
Mhm.
And yeah, Heroes is like one of the premier comic art shows.
It
They
is.
always have such a fantastic guest list, and as an art lover myself, I actually love just walking around and seeing what everybody else is up to, seeing tons of original artwork. It's
Did
uh it's a beautiful thing.
do you collect too? I don't think I asked you that last time we talked.
I have a couple of pieces. I don't. Uh, I'm not a diehard collector because uh, I actually have too much of my own artwork, which part of what we're doing today is to help me move
Exactly.
some of my artwork. Yeah, I can understand why Alex Ross sells so much of his artwork because after you produce a mountain of it, it becomes quite the responsibility having to
Mhm.
take care of it all. And I mean, I have pages going back to my very first comic book in 1989, and yeah, and then the amount of covers I've been doing for Dynamite recently. I'll blink and like, holy cow, I just did 50 covers.
Well, that's why we have 25 for sale today.
Yes, I
And
mean
that
there are
answers the
months.
question. Hey, I didn't think to tell you before we started, but are you set to the comments tab on the right-hand side or our
Let
private
me make
chat?
sure. There we go. Duh. Hey, Nick Barucci.
Nick Barucci. Nick is well, there you go. After you mentioned Dynamite, yes, Nick is he's always in my chats cheerleading everybody on to remind them to like the show, comment afterwards, share it, all those good things. Nick's fantastic.
Cool.
But,
so one quick thing before we go any further.
yeah.
One of the things I do have in my collection, I have 10 painted pages by Howard Chaykin for
Seriously,
The Swords of Heaven, The Flowers of Hell, the graphic novel he did with Michael Moorcock. He painted
I know that.
as humongous, like 2 foot by 3 foot, 2-page spreads. That's how the entire book was done. And through Mitch Ichkowitz years ago, I was able to get, I think, 5 double-page spreads, which equals 10 pages of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're fantastic. I'm a huge Howard Chaykin fan.
Dang.
And you just had him on yesterday, right?
I did. I just had him on yesterday. Wow, we could have done that. We could have done something together. It would have been fun. But no, Howard's great. I mean, I'm sure you've run into him at shows before.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a unique guy. I love talking with him.
He was actually at the Three Rivers Con a couple of weeks ago.
That's right. That's why I was kind of kicking myself. I forgot I had a busy weekend that one, but it's like 2 hours from here. I really could have swung over there for at least an afternoon to pop in and say hi to everybody. But I forgot Howard was going. I forgot you were going, and I just blew it. But we'll get to see each other at Heroes, so that's good.
Yeah.
But any other artwork other than Howard's and?
I have 2 Frazetta sketches. I have a little thumbnail for the alien crucifixion piece.
Mm-hmm.
The guy with the forearms.
Oh yeah.
Crucified. I have a really nice nude that the people at Comic Images had hooked me up with. That nude actually sees print in one of the self-published Frazetta art books.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a couple of Barry Smith sketches. I have his preliminary sketches for Pandora, which
Wow.
that stuff saw print in Shelf Stuff, his collection of sketches and stuff. I have a couple of pages of Black Mark by Gil Kane. I'm a huge Gil Kane fan. I have a couple of martial law pages because I love martial law by Kevin O'Neill and Alan Moore. I mean, not Alan Moore. Is that Stephen Grant? Who wrote
I'm not sure.
martial law? Or
Someone
Pat
in the
Mills.
chat
Pat Mills.
tell
I
us.
think. Pat Mills.
Oh.
Yeah, Pat Mills with the art by Kevin O'Neill. I have a couple of Michael Golden pieces, which are fantastic.
You're riddling off a lot more art than I thought you were alluding to when you first answered that question, Joe.
My Michael Golden pieces. He had illustrated an article in Epic Illustrated in 1981, 82.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an article on role-playing games, and he illustrated these 6 different, 3 fantasy characters and 3 science fiction characters. And the design on these pieces are amazing. And I had actually Xeroxed that out of Epic Illustrated, and I had a Xerox hanging on my wall for years and years. And one day, Albert Moy had the originals at some New York convention, and through wheeling and dealing, I was able to get it. And that for me was like a grail piece, because I had a Xerox hanging on my wall, and I used to stare at it every day. And to
finally throw that thing away.
Yeah.
You got the original now.
Which is amazing. And I guess that that's one of the crazy things about this hobby. I guess if you love a certain piece of art in a certain comic or graphic novel, to finally someday own it is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Richard Corbin didn't sell a lot of artwork during his lifetime. He held on to it, but shortly before he died, he sold a couple of pieces. And I'm friends with Bob Fingerman, the artist, and he owns a couple of pages of Mutant World by Richard Corbin, which I would kill. I'm so jealous. I would kill to have one of those pages.
Yeah, I've never owned anything by Corbin. I would love to. I'd pretty much love to have anything by him, just to have an original. But yeah, Mutant World stuff would be pretty fantastic to actually own a piece of that. I don't think I've even ever seen anything in person. So
it's very rare. It does not pop up, and as soon as something pops up, boom, people instantly swarm on it. And it's not.
I don't blame them, right? I mean, So hey, Nick Barucci asked, and I think it's been confirmed, you're going to be at Baltimore this year?
Yes, I'm going to be at the Baltimore Comic Con this year.
All right. Well, looks like I'm going to have to be going to Baltimore too. I think Howard's supposed to be at that. Nick said he'd take some of us out for dinner. Well, I guess we'd all go out to dinner. We'll probably all pay for our own. But at any rate, we're all got to get together and at Baltimore. So I'm thinking I've never been to that show, and I've always talked
Oh wow.
about. I know it's a great show. You know, it kind of ranks up there with Heroes as far as a art collector and artist show. You know, it's one of the few out there remaining that really focuses on comic books and comic creators. You know, and there are many out there, but the two best reputations I think are Heroes in Baltimore at this point, and
Definitely.
outside of things like Lake Como, where that's straight, artists and everything. But yep.
Well, conventions are always mutating, and I think there's room out there for every type of convention. But
Mhm.
it's nice to have shows where uh, the proper respect is given to the people who make the comic books.
Right.
Too many shows have people from Buffy or whatever stupid TV show, and it's like, we should be here for the comic people. But I'm prejudiced because I'm a comic person. So.
All right. Well, Nick's saying, and we've definitely got a date for dinner at Baltimore, so now I have to go. All right. So, okay. So I'm not even sure where I want to go with this now. This has been too much. I want to hear about you now. Is there any more art that you own that you haven't told me about already?
Those are the big ones. Those are the big ones. If anything else occurs to me, I'll.
Because that all that stuff sounds great. I'd love to see half of that. I mean, I love Howard's work. So, and I can't imagine what those pages look like with with 2 pages on one board. That's got to be pretty neat.
Yeah, they're grand. And it actually, if you look at the graphic novel, I think by doing them as 2-page spreads, there's a different sense of the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a couple of people do comic books that way. And one of these days, I want to try that. Instead of thinking, vertically, everything has it's more horizontal because you're working on the 2-page spread.
Mm-hmm.
And those pages, they've been a big inspiration to me over the years. So yeah, I should share them on Comic Art Fans.
You should. You definitely should. Do you have a CAF account, right?
I do. Although I've only ever shared my own artwork, I should share my collection. That'd be nice.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, you definitely should. I mean, because I always like to know what other artists collect. I mean, a lot of times artists are trading by and large, but Joe, I mean, everything that you've talked about are real purchases for you. That doesn't, these aren't trades. Where you're trading your own art. I mean, you probably have done that, but a lot of the pieces you just mentioned, I think, are more purchases. Which when I talk to artists, I don't typically hear that. Where sometimes sure, like maybe 1 or 2 pieces, but by and large, artists like to kind of exchange art. I think is kind of a more normal thing to do when you have mutual admiration for one another.
Sure, I've done that with a bunch of people. We've swapped smaller pieces, back and forth, and like with those Michael Golden pieces, I actually traded a couple of small pieces to Albert Moy in exchange for that stuff. And my Barry Smith Pandora sketches, I got that at the Chicago Comic-Con back in 91, 92, probably 1992. And it's funny, I had seen it. This one dealer had it for $800 at the very beginning of the show. And I was like, oh man, $800. I don't have $800. But as the show went on, I started doing some sketches, and by the end of the first day, I had enough money to go and buy that. So I went and bought it, and I was thrilled to have it. And I haven't seen that dealer in years, but he hated parting with it. And every time I would see him, he's like, oh, how's my Barry Smith? How's my Barry Smith? It's like, oh, it's on my wall. It's found a new home. It's happy where it is.
So by and large, most things that you've ever bought, you have no interest in selling. Those are like permanent collection kind of things.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Of course, if I'm desperate for cash or anything, that'll change things. And I always tell people, if you have to sell your collection, I understand. Like I've had people say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had to sell my artwork because we had a baby." It's like, well, real life comes first. If you have to pay for your baby, that's more important than your comic art collection. You can always rebuy the artwork or whatever, but or if your house burns down or whatever crazy reason someone needs to liquidate their collection, I understand.
Yes. So I'm reading through the chat a little bit, but I remember when we talked after the last sale that we did, at that time you had said, I think the next time we do this, we're going to do a lot more interiors. You had some projects that you were working on, and I don't recall what those projects were, but obviously we're not selling any interiors today. So kind of what did something kind of get delayed? I mean, did your schedule kind of change a bit where you, you don't have a lot of interiors right now and it's more of a cover focus type of work that you've done in the last 9 months?
I think the focus is on the covers because Dynamite has kept me so busy. There have been certain months where I've done 6 or 7 covers, and like I said, they start to pile up after a while. And yeah, I don't have a lot of interior stuff, but like the Harley Quinn pages I've done for DC, I do plan on selling those. And
you'll have those with you at Heroes, probably.
Sorry,
would you have that kind of art at Heroes?
I hadn't thought about it, but maybe I should bring that to Heroes. That'd be smart.
It would be. Well, like I said, I'm telling you, there's going to be so many art collectors there, and a lot of guys only collect published stuff, right? I mean, so I think it's always good to have a variety of things for collectors to buy. Sure, a lot of people want to come in and get that $750, $500 con sketch or commission, that they can buy right there. But at the same time, there's some guys that I know that that's all they want is a published piece. Doesn't matter if it's a $2,000 page or a $250 page, right? But they're just not really into the con sketches or commissions and stuff. So variety is always good, I think.
Yeah, Bill, thanks for that brilliant idea. I'm definitely going to be bringing some Harley.
It's been so long since I've seen you at a show. I can't remember what you have with you when you're there. I mean, I think the last time I saw you was in San Diego, probably like 6 years ago or something. It feels like because I haven't gone to that show in a while. This will be my first time in probably 5 years going to San Diego.
Wow.
So yeah, long time. But speaking of interior pages, you mentioned that you even still have some of your first interior pages. So is there a lot of artwork that you've done that it's never leaving your possession because it's sentimental or it means a lot to you? I mean, do you do work like that you have that attachment to?
Yeah. Most of my interior pages are for projects where I own the copyright and the trademark, so they're mine, top to bottom. Whereas Harley Quinn, I was just a hired hand. That's all owned by DC Comics. It was work for hire. But the Dawn stuff, I definitely plan on holding onto that forever. And there have been a couple of times where I had to go back to print on a Dawn thing, and something got screwed up at the scan. So it was a good thing I had the original to turn to.
Right.
So
you've never had it. No one's that came to you and said, "Hey, I'd like to buy a complete issue or something," or maybe they have, and you've just been like, you're not ready. It's not going to happen right now.
Yeah, a lot of people over the years have expressed interest. I've let go of 1 or 2 Dawn covers, which those I actually regret selling. I wish I had all those back. But yeah, as much as possible, all the Dawn stuff, all the creator and stuff, I'm gonna hold on to that. But like the Wolverine stuff I did for Marvel, the Conan covers,
yeah,
that stuff will eventually all go out into the world.
Well, I mean, I've always loved your work, man. So it's
thanks, Bill.
Being an ex guy, I was always happy when I saw anything with the Wolverine work that you did. I totally enjoyed that a lot. I mean, I love Dawn, but that kind of stuff was always, it was just nice to see that the publishers wanted to have your style of art on their characters, and you knew that it was just going to be fantastic, and it really was.
Thanks.
I mean, it still is to this day. Let's see. Oh, there was a question here from Scott Andrews. Joe, any interest or talk between Dynamite and yourself about publishing a collection of your covers, similar to something like with Alex Ross or Perillo? You've done so many for them. Maybe they should consider something like that.
Yeah, actually, I've talked to Nick a couple of times about that, and something along those lines will probably happen.
Well, that'd be cool. I mean, again, with the body of your work, especially with Dynamite, I mean, that certainly warrants it.
Well, the project I at all times I have like 10 different things going on, but one of the prime back burner projects is the Art of Joe Linsner Volume 2. I put out one art book around, I don't know, like 2003, 2004, something like that, and I'm long overdue for another art book, and I want to do a proper art book that has my Conan covers as well as the Red Sonja covers and the Marvel covers, and the best of what I've been up to for practically the last 20 years.
Well, I have that book over in that bookshelf right there. So, I do. I look at it at least once a year. I love it. I mean, it's. But yeah, you should do another one. You are long overdue. You've been in comics for a very long time. So at 2003, I mean, come on, 20 years have passed. So 2023 would be a good time to have that second book out there.
Yes, that's actually kind of what I was thinking.
Oh, well, good. Yeah, and I told you, I mean, I know you didn't reply to that email, but when I was looking at when you sent me all your scans, I was like, man, Joe, you really should do like a tutorial or just demonstrate like a painting demonstration one day, record it. I don't care how we could do it, even if it was like we moved it to a different place, a nice, different studio, whatever. But I just thought like, I love your technique so much in your covers and the painting that I want to see how you do it. I want to watch you work for an hour. I want to watch you paint one of these covers.
Thanks, Bill. I want to do that, and I've just been limited by my my lack of technical knowledge, knowing how to do that. But somebody showed me how to do that on my phone. How to time lapse record something.
Mm-hmm.
In slow-mo basically. And I just have to find the time to set up, a setup and just do it properly. But that's on the list of things I want to get done.
All right. Well, if I lived closer to you, we would work that out, Joe. If only. I mean, even because you're in Atlanta, right? Or roundabout.
Like 2 hours north of Atlanta.
2 hours. So, all right. So like Ringgold, maybe on the border there in that kind of area. I don't know. But yeah, well, where I'm at in Florida, it's pretty much the same distance from Cleveland to there. So I'm not getting any closer in my move, unfortunately. But I'd love it because I would. I mean, I look at your paintings and I'm just in awe of how rich the colors are. It's kind of like Brian Stelfreeze, the way he paints. I mean, his colors are just they just pop, and yours do as well. I mean, and I think that's so hard to do. I mean, it's color for me when I was going to art school, it was always such a difficult thing. I literally couldn't. I was better off at doing charcoal drawings because when I tried adding color, I couldn't see it, couldn't really make it work right. And when I see somebody who just has such a mastery over, what colors to use and the tones in them, and then to be able to have them be so vibrant. I mean, literally like they're, Dynamite has it made. When those things come in, there's like no color correction needs to be made. Those things are perfect. You know what I mean? I just don't know how you do it. That's why I'd really like to see, you actually doing, and being able to talk over it a little bit. Like just, this is, I think a lot of, I mean, not only collectors, but I think artists would probably really like to see that too.
Sure. And you mentioned Brian Stelfreeze. His color sense is so inspiring, so amazing. He uses such electric colors sometimes, and in a technical sense, you'd think it wouldn't work, but he pulls off the alchemy and he makes it work.
Right.
Which I mean, his stuff really blows me away. Like I'm perpetually impressed and amazed at his color sense. And I guess a lot of the guys I've been inspired by do have a really strong color sense. Barry Smith has a really fantastic color sense.
He does, yeah.
Richard Corbin has a fantastic color sense, or had a fantastic color sense. Frazetta had a fantastic color sense. And yes, my wife Christina just reminded me. Brian Stelfreeze did a fantastic Prince portrait a couple years ago, and we were able to buy it from him at a show. So that's another piece of my collection, which I should definitely put that on Comic Art Fans because that's fantastic.
Well, we've got a big to-do list here growing for you throughout this conversation. So, with all this art and all your own art, I mean, do you have like a flat file? I mean, how do you store all that artwork that, of your own that you're keeping in the pieces that you've collected?
I have most of it actually in Itoya portfolios, acid-free. And I used to have a flat file, but the last time I moved, it was just too big and bulky. So I was like, let me just get shelves. And I have shelves upon shelves with Itoya portfolios. And I need to get more stuff framed. I don't have enough stuff framed and hanging on the walls. my own collection, like that Brian Stelfreeze, the Prince piece. I would love to have
Mhm.
that hanging up.
Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of comic art or work that I've gotten from comic artists. Most of the stuff for me is just like stuff that I've picked up from sci-fi fantasy artists, and typically they're already framed, so it's real easy for me to do it. But in my new home, I do hope to have a lot more comic art on the walls. It's a goal of mine, because I've refrained from doing that. But I'm the same. I keep everything in iToys pretty much. One of these days, I'd love to get a nice big architectural, flat file of some kind, right? But they're pretty expensive, and every time they turn up, it's like they disappear. Like if I see them on a Facebook group, or because I follow a couple of those like architectural places that recycle, go into schools and tear out everything
Oh yeah.
just for flat files. That's all I want. And every time I see one pop up, I email them and they're like, nope, gone. And it's like within 24 hours they go. And but they just seem like a really nice, convenient, sturdy way to kind of keep all your artwork, rather than, because I've got the same thing. I've got like this little cabinet here, but I'd rather have something a little bit more sturdy and can hold more artwork than that.
Yeah, and flat files are actually great for publishers. Back when I was more involved with like with the Sirius Entertainment, when I was the art director there, they had flat files, and it was great to just say, okay, this is Dark One's file, or this is Kevin Taylor's drawer, and just everything that comes in, just zoom, 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 throw it in the flat file, and then it's got to go off to the printer. And actually, this was in the days when you had to send the originals off to the printers, which thank God we don't have to do that anymore.
Exactly. Well, Dreaded Dinosaur says I could shop at IKEA and find a drawer system that would be similar to a flat file. I'll have to look. I've never seen anything like that, but I don't shop at IKEA. But maybe I'll take a look. I'm going to make a note of that. You had a question here from Ray Cuthbert. He was asking, Joe, are you worried about color fastness of media, or are you more concerned with print presentation? I guess based on the technique and the medium that you use.
I'm most concerned with the print presentation, because 99% of the art I do is intended for publication. And I've said this before, for me, the finished piece is actually the printed comic book. So I'm all about whatever's going to get me the best image in print.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why over the past couple of years, I've slowly but surely been doing more stuff digitally. And my work, like the pieces that we're going to be selling today, they're a fusion of digital and organic. I'll do the important parts organically, and then certain things like, say, a sky, that will be added digitally, and that's just a time-saving thing.
Mm-hmm. You know what's funny? I was talking with Howard yesterday, and then I forget who I was talking with after that. But the idea that many artists back in the day had apprentices, right? Or you can look at Continuity Studio or whatnot. But where like Neil Adams, he would draw all the faces, right? But then somebody else would end up doing all the fill-in stuff. So it was all about getting the important stuff right by that creator. And then it didn't really, then it was passing it on to somebody else. So in a weird way, that's kind of what you're doing here. It's like you want to get the most important parts of it down so that they feel very much like your work. And then, but the digital work behind it. And on a couple of the pieces we're going to show today, I did actually put the cover on there because I could see a little alterations that you had done, like the piece with the arrows, how the arrows were kind of like at an angle, and then So I put that with it because I was like, well, people probably would be interested to see that. But so like you can see your color sensibility certainly in the digital work you do. But as a analogy, it's almost kind of like the same thing. You want to have that best image be done by your hand on the paper, and then everything else is expediting, right?
Yes, and I would love to have a team of artisans helping me put together my stuff. I think Otomo, who did Akira, I think his studio is called Mashroom. And if you look in the back of Akira, there's a list of 35 guys. And I think they have, you're the guy who does the buildings, you're the guy who does this, you throw horses, you do this. And everything filters through his sensibilities. And so I think Will Eisner did a similar thing with his studio.
Sure.
Certain guys had certain, areas of expertise, and it was all filtered through his sensibility. And I would love that. I would be thrilled. because the older I get, the more I realize I've only got so many comic books left in me, and I've got too many ideas. It's like,
Right, right. Well, but you're learning these shorthand things so that you realize that, because I think one of the pieces has a full background, and it's, I think, the most expensive one of all of them. But I'm sure you've realized that the digital helps you get more work done and be prolific where because the work is there, right? Especially when the work is there, you got to take it. I mean,
oh
you
sure,
can't say like, oh, I can't do that one, or I've got to push it off. I mean, that as a creator and as a self-employed person is the worst feeling ever, right? I mean, I remember when I was doing web development, sometimes I'd have too many people coming at the same time wanting work, and I'd be like, I can't do it, but here's somebody else who can. And as I'm sure you could probably refer some people around, but you want to have that work for yourself, especially if it's coming to you initially. So
true, and I know I'm so incredibly lucky to to be able to do something I love, and you know, drawing these characters. Everyone is a thrill. Everyone is uh, something I look forward to every time. I mean, I grew up loving Red Sonja, and getting to do Red Sonja covers is a childhood dream come true. And the people at Dynamite, Nick and Joe Rybant, they're so cool. They're so supportive, and they trust me. They they insist on seeing a sketch beforehand just to get an idea of what direction I'm going in. But it's been a great, very rewarding relationship, and I'm lucky. I'm lucky to be in that spot. I've known so many people who just couldn't get a proper toehold, or were they had a bad relationship with their editor,
hmm
or like that could be hell if your editor just doesn't connect with you. Then that's like pulling teeth. I mean, I've had editors tell me things like, oh, I don't know what I'm looking for, but I'll know it when I see it. And it's like, give me a little more direction than that.
right,
Like,
right.
yeah,
I gave you some direction the other day. Remember on it? I was like, I don't know if I should tell Joe. I'd like to see something a little different. But you didn't take offense at that, right? I mean, at the end of the
no,
day,
not at all.
see, I worry about that stuff because I've never been in that position before. So as part of the creative process, you like editors that are more engaging, and at the end of the day, you're trying to make them happy too, so that they want to keep working with you. So it's probably better to have that kind of sometimes things aren't exactly the way they want it, right? So they'll let you know, and you just make modifications.
Yeah, and it works that way with commissions also. I like a little starting point. You
hmm
know, I've had people ask for commissions where they've written like a 2-page thing of like, oh, I want a dresser in the background with a framed picture, blah blah blah, and then there has to be pink nail polish, and it's too
That
specific.
takes the fun out of it right there,
That takes
right?
the fun out of it. Then I'm just being a workhorse for someone. But if
hmm
someone just gives me, I want to see Dawn with an Asian dress on, or something like that, that I can play with that. I can fire up my imagination with something like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
just a little starting point is nice.
Right, right. I had some bad, where commission experiences early on where I over directed, and people would be like, "Nah, I don't think I want to do that." And I get it, but I got it. I mean, by being told no, that that made me realize, all right, that's not the right way to approach an artist where you're trying to get a commission from, especially you're commissioning them because you love their work, so you don't want to insult them, but then you realize that that you just turned them off. And yeah, those are early lessons learned in my collecting time. That so after that, I never went in with a complete game plan. I was more like this character or these characters, and take it from there, and from this era, right? So you get the costumes, right? That's always important in a commission, but then you kind of let the artist kind of define where things are going to go after that, and usually get something much better.
Yeah, and especially with comic art, there has to be a sense of fun.
hmm
I mean, even if you're, like look at Bernie Wrightson, Master of the Macabre. No matter how dark or twisted anything he did turned out to be, there's always a sense of fun.
hmm
I think so.
Oh, I did
And
too. Yeah.
yeah, so if you can tap into something that's going to unleash the inner child in the artist, that break out the big box crayons. Let's have fun.
Mm-hmm. We're always going to get something better when the artist is excited about what you're throwing their way, right? I think I've always kind of found that to be true. You want to, but I mean, but that's true in life, right? You're always going to do a better job when you're happy with what you're doing. So, yeah. So see, we're trying to. There's a lot of new collectors out there. I think that doing these live streams, I've met a lot of them, and I think that these are, when we talk about these things, it's always good to we're kind of like training the new collectors as a their approach to commissioning artists at cons and things, because that's good. I mean, it's good to know that collectors who've been in the hobby for over 20 years really always made the same mistakes that they're making today back in the day, because I mean, I made so many faux pas in approaches to artists that I mean, I did something with Dave Cockrum. I remember just was like, darn it, I should never, and it was something I couldn't take back because he passed away like a month afterwards. I was like, dang it, that's not the way I want to live my life as an art collector, because collecting art, it really is to me, it's a lot about the creators and the opportunity we have to kind of hang out and chat with you at shows and get to know you. So the last thing you want to do is kind of turn somebody off from you as a collector, because you're really, I'm standing in front of that guy because I love his work, and I want to, not only do I want to own it, but I want to kind of get to know a little bit about that person too when I'm buying it, and it makes the art even more special when I end up owning it. And so
Sure.
Yeah, but I have to agree with you on Bernie Wrightson though, as far as the humor. I mean, it doesn't matter if someone's getting their head chopped off in the face or whatnot. But yeah, you think about like those old like mailbag illustrations in the back of some of the horror books that he worked on. They were always just fun, right? I mean, it was a dead postman laying on the ground with a sack of mail on his belly.
Yeah,
that's fun. He was having a good time making that illustration.
Yeah, he was a fantastic guy, and I really miss him. I wasn't close friends with him or anything, but just casual, friend at cons. Would just see him and chat with him, and that's a terrible loss that he passed away.
I know.
So soon.
And he was somebody who I didn't really get a chance to talk to much at shows. I saw him, but he always had a line, and so I don't think I ever said a word to him, even though I maybe looked through his portfolio once. But he's very outgoing, so he was always really engaged with either the creator next to him or the people in front of him. And so yeah, he's one of the people I really regret in my early days of collecting that I never approached, just to talk to, say I appreciated his work and that sort of thing. Yeah. And that's the last couple of years have just been really eye-opening. All the people that many artists that we really admire and grew up with are passing away or needing assistance, and it's tough, right? I mean, we're all getting older. That's the thing that I realized. We're missing out on these opportunities to get to know these creators better, and and it's Bernie was just one of those people that I would have thoroughly enjoyed just having an hour or two conversation with him in a format like this. Would have been so much fun.
And he was always warm. I like, there's certain people you hear negative stories about, and I've never heard anybody ever say a single negative word about Bernie. Bernie was just a fountain of joy. Such a great guy. Same thing with George Perez. George Perez always had a smile on his face. I've never even seen him not smiling. He was a great guy. I would always chat with him also, and that's tragic that he passed away.
I know. So he was somebody who I got to, I wouldn't say I got to know, but I mean, I had lunch with him once, thanks to the Hero Initiative. And so I got to at least talk to him several times, and he, again, he was super duper special. I mean, nobody like him, right? As happy as we can be on the inside, he was happy on the outside all the time. So, I mean, I've never met anybody like him. Nobody. I mean, he was a man unto himself. I mean, there'll never be another. Hey, Wes wanted to know though if you actually own any rights in artwork.
Do I own any rights in artwork? I do not. I always wanted to get him to do a creature from the Black Lagoon. That is a regret of mine that I didn't. I wasn't more serious about that. I should have gotten that done.
That would have been cool. Yeah, he would have done a great creature.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's right up his alley. Either that or a guy with an axe. One or the other.
Yeah. I've seen I seen any creature drawings from him? No, I've seen some like pencil pieces where he did some like Cthulhu stuff, like so like Shadow over Innsmouth kind of illustrations. So you see like sort of you know lake kind of creatures or dark creatures, but yeah, never. I don't think I've ever seen him do creature from the Black Lagoon though, at least that I can think of. Any
I've seen him
style
draw,
illustrations.
yeah, I've seen him draw like kind of fishy monster guys,
Right.
but the actual creature, yeah, that would have been cool.
It would have. But hey, I know we have a lot of art to look at, and we could literally talk for another hour. We could do a show sometime where we're just going to BS about our love for the hobby and talk about your career and all that. But we've got 25 pieces of art to look at today. So and it's a Sunday afternoon or morning, depending on where people are at today. So is it okay if we kind of switch over to that? Because I'm sure with each piece of artwork that we show, there's little bits that we can talk about with each of them.
Sure, certainly.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and show those slides one more time to let people know the rules and how we're doing this. I know I saw people earlier saying they wish they did the claims in the chat, but the reason we do them this way is because it gives gets your contact information over to Nicole, who fulfills the artwork. And I do have to tell you, because of Joe's schedule, he's actually shipping the artwork tomorrow or probably around lunchtime to Nicole. She doesn't actually have the artwork in hand today, but we expect her to have the artwork in hand by Wednesday. I mean, certainly Thursday at the latest, just based on the mail. But it will be mailed tomorrow afternoon. So I'm just giving you the heads up on that. So because typically I let you guys know that you'll probably have the artwork by Friday. Well, that probably won't happen. You'll probably have the artwork early next week, maybe by Saturday. But yeah, that's a little different from the typical ones we do here. But again, Third Eye is going to be fulfilling everything once they get the artwork in hand. The claim process is we need you to send an email to Nicole@thirdeyecomics.com. And we just want you to have in the subject Linsner Art Sale. And in the body of the email, please put the lot number that you're interested in and, of course, your name. And just so you know, I know that, we've got 25 covers that we're going to be looking at today. So there's a lot to consider while you're looking at the artwork. And so I definitely would say have pen and paper in hand to kind of note which pieces you like, because really at any time you can send an email to Nicole. If we're on lot 15 and you've seen enough and you decided lot 3, which is still available, you want to purchase that, you can send the email to Nicole right, while we're on lot 15 saying you want to claim lot 3 or an earlier lot. It's not, you don't have to just kind of, claim it when you see it. Again, there's a lot to consider here. And at the end of the 25 lots that we're going to show today, we will recap the pieces that did not sell. And all the prices that we show are the prices of record. There's no haggling on these pieces. The price is the price. And as far as shipping goes, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, domestic shipping is $20 and international shipping will be $50. If you buy multiple pieces, of course, Third Eye will combine the artwork on shipping, so the price on the shipping will not go up. So I think that covers it all. I don't know if anybody asked any questions while I was going through that. Got art, says Marcus. Yes, we've got plenty of art today, Marcus. Rodney's asking if can I pick it up at Heroes Convention? That's probably not the way we'd want it to go, just because Joe will be shipping all the artwork to Third Eye to do the fulfillment. I mean, I guess we could think about it. I mean, in a weird way, I know it's 2 weeks from now. As long as the payment was made in full, and payment, I didn't mention this though, we expect payment within 48 hours. So Nicole will send you an invoice once she has your, all your contact information and the order's been confirmed. So, but payment is expected. She'll invoice you via PayPal. So there's plenty of different payment options when you get that PayPal invoice, of course, credit card, ACH, all that sort of thing you can do with PayPal.
Actually, I think I could deliver art at Heroes Con.
Okay, well then I'm okay with that too. At the end of the day, I mean, as long as as long as the payment's received, then I'm good with that too. I didn't even think about that, especially now that everybody knows you're going to be at Heroes. So, and then other than that, just make sure if you see a piece that you like and you're sending your email, and just remember the first person that gets their email to Nicole is going to reply to that buyer, letting them know they got it. She will not have time to reply to the people who don't get it. So if you do not get a reply, you did not get the artwork in question that you were going after. So, and I will announce here in the stream when the lot has been claimed, so that you know that you didn't get the piece. So, that frees you up to purchase a later piece. And and I did order these pieces by price, so they're going lowest to highest. So, there's a Red Sonja early, there's a Red Sonja later too. So you kind of keep that in mind. Same thing with the Sheena pieces. That there's for some of the characters, there are multiple pieces in here, all cover artwork. So if you miss out on something early, there will be later pieces as well. So sorry, I'm just kind of making sure I didn't miss anything in the chat before we get started here. But all right, so the order we're
I
going.
gotta say, I was gonna say, Nick, thanks for being a fantastic cheerleader. You're the best, Nick. And thank you everybody for chiming in. I'm having a lot of fun and loving all the comments. Edward Chimiga pointed out that my work is always growing creatively, and thank you. That's a fantastic compliment. I'm always trying new things, always trying to broaden my artistic horizons, and thank you for noticing that.
Yes. And I did see a question from Wes. So time payments. Unfortunately, Wes, no. I mean, 48 hours is the time frame to pay for the artworks in total. And I think the prices on all the covers range between $2,000 and $5,000. Average price right around $3,000. So, but with the way we have everything structured, time payments are not a possibility. But maybe someday we could work something like that in a show, but not in this format where we're doing the fulfillment as we do them today. So, and Kevin has said you're one of their Grail artists, and that's good. Yeah. So let's see. Let's get this thing started. So we're going to go ahead and start off with lot one. And again, we're going to start low to high as far as prices go on these pieces. So we're going to get lot one queued up here and get it on the screen. So this first, and one question I can ask you with this one: size on all the pieces, Joe, I assume are 11 by 17.
Yes.
All
yes,
right,
this
so
is 11 by 17, and the inset box is 10.5 by 16.
Okay, and that's consistent, I think, with all the pieces, right? But so this is lot one. It's $2,000 Sonja Versal #7 cover, and the Sonja Versal covers were always a lot of fun. I mean, did you enjoy doing them, Joe?
I had a complete blast doing those. The major assignment was just to, take the elements of Red Sonja and run off in a fun direction with her iconography. And I wish I could have done more. I had another 4 or 5 ideas in the pipeline, which I was dying to get to. But I love those covers.
Did they give you the direction, or did you kind of get to feel creative and pitch ideas back to them on ideas for for this really weird approach to Red Sonja?
I think I was given a seed idea for the first one, but after that, they just let me go, and and I loved it. I had so much fun.
Yeah, and Wayne just mentioned one that I always remember was that opera cover. That was so fun.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite one, and I'm actually holding on to that one for a while.
I don't blame you. I really don't blame you. That one was there you go, Nick. When you tell a secret, you shouldn't tell it to everybody. Well, clearly it was well loved by a lot of people. I mean, they were just so much fun, and I as a creator, I mean, you like you said, Red Sonja was a character that you always wanted to draw, or never could imagine that you'd be doing, and then you get to kind of do your own fun spin in that way on the characters. That just had to be, just I don't know. I would have been thrilled to have that opportunity.
Yeah, it was great, and I think the really, really strong comic characters are they're pliable enough where you could do a dozen different things with them. And like the prime example of that for me is Batman. How many different ways can people draw Batman? Does he have long ears, short ears? Is his outfit gray and blue or gray and black? Is it leather? Is it not leather? Does he have any kind of armor on, or is he just wearing a leotard? There are a million different ways you can draw Batman. And I think with Red Sonja, she also has that kind of pliability. Her signature iconography. The chainmail bikini, so to speak. You can do a lot with a chainmail bikini.
I don't know. That's always like, I mean, Dave Sim kind of always made fun of that, that in his own way, the approach. How can you wear a chainmail bikini? But it works, right? I mean, it's not providing a whole lot of protection, but it's one of the more classic character designs out there for a female character. I mean,
And was that Red Sophia in Cerebus?
Yes, Red Sophia. Right. There's a lot of great artwork out there from Cerebus that had Red Sophia in it. But hey, so that lot is still out there. Everybody will, like I said, we'll recap any piece that doesn't sell so that we can, remind everybody which pieces haven't sold before we close shop today. So we're going to move on to the second piece. And this is lot number 2, $2,000 as well. This is the cover issue number 3 to Jennifer Blood. And I mean, she knows how to hold her firearm there. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's something I put a lot of work into. Like there are certain things that I've seen people really screw up in comic books, like say how to hold a guitar or how to hold a gun. And people often talk about Jack Kirby's anatomy being all wacky, but if you look at Jack Kirby's the details, he always drew the proper way someone would hold a gun. The hands and the wrists, the way everything bends together, it's all spot on in Jack Kirby's work.
Could be from his time in the military, right?
Yeah, he spent a couple of years in the Army, and that might be where it got hammered into his head how to properly hold a firearm. But yeah, with this, with Jennifer Blood, I wanted to make sure the guns, I tried to make them as accurate as possible. I'm not a gun nut or anything, but details are important on certain things, and guns are one of them.
Well, it's got to look realistic, but yeah, no, this is it's a very great illustration. I love the color, the red highlight on her right side. It's just really well done. And she's practicing good gun safety with those glasses.
And she's probably wearing earplugs too.
Yes, exactly. Or Mike asked the question, are they all 11 by 17? Yes, they are, Mike. And I think Joe, what did you say the inset?
The inset box is 16 by 10.5.
Got it. I'm going to make a note of that so in case that comes up again. 16 by 10.5. All right. All right. Well, this one's going to still be available as well. And remember, you keep Nicole at thirdeyecomics.com email address handy so that you can shoot her an email when you see a piece that you're looking to purchase. So we're going to switch over here. This is going to be a Red Sonja piece. This is the one I was talking about earlier with the arrows as you had drawn them. They were kind of at different angles, in the right-hand image there. And then in the published one, they're flat. So this is lot number 3. It is $2,500. And this is the cover to Red Sonja issue number 2. And I should have probably included more published images with these too, Joe. It's nice to see your approach to doing the characters and then what you end up doing with the digital colors behind it. But in this one, you decided to put all the arrows more coming in at a more aggressive speed, I believe.
Yeah, I almost wanted, in anime, they'll have that blur in the background, like speed blur. And I almost wanted that kind of effect behind the characters. And it actually made more sense for the arrows to all be level on the final piece. So yeah, there is the difference. Also on the cover, you can see her foot gets chopped off. Red Sonja's foot goes down past the bottom of the actual print.
I didn't notice that, but yeah, no, okay.
Whereas on the original thing, she's all there.
So, I know once you give the art over to the publishers, I mean, you don't have a whole lot of control over what happens, but yeah, I mean, does that ever, do you ever look at it and say, I might have done it differently? Or, at the end of the day, once you turn it over to the publisher, it's just, it's up to them to kind of frame it with the logo and get everything the way they want it.
I'm actually very picky about my logos, and if I have time, I'll do a mock-up of where I'd like the logo and what colors to use on the logo.
Mhm.
Coming from self-publishing, I was used to doing all that stuff myself, and I've been horrified a couple of times by logo placement.
Mhm.
Uh, you know when you submit stuff usually to a publisher, um, they just say thank you for your work, and then you don't see it again until it sees print. But yeah, I like to be involved in every part of the process,
Well, that's good. I
and
mean, what
also with like say looking at my stuff and wanting to change things. I want to change stuff all the time. Uh, you know,
after you send it in?
sure. Usually, I need a couple of months to get a fresh look at it.
Mhm.
And there have been so many times I've gotten, like, say, the printed book back. A couple of months later when it finally sees print, and I'll say, "Oh my God, I should have put more shadow here, or I should have put more highlight here," or just
Mhm.
technical things like that. Which I guess is a good thing because that shows I'm growing. That shows I'm trying to improve. I
But
think.
yeah, I'm sure, there's some things when you're in the heat of the moment, you just don't see it. And you just think you got it the way you want it, and then you send it in and you're like, "Oh," but
Yeah,
you probably can't correct those too often. I'm sure once it gets to the publisher, they're quick to move on them.
yeah, and the standard thing in publishing is like, we need it good and we need it yesterday. So the wheels of industry have to keep rolling. And
Mhm.
if ever you wonder why so many comic books are not very good looking, it's because everything has to get done. It's a business, and the stuff has to come out. The spice
Mhm.
must flow. Uh,
Exactly.
there have been a number of artists over the years who I thought were terrible, but they got a lot of work. And the thing is to meet your deadlines. If you can meet your deadlines, you can get a lot of work.
Right.
So it's like, well, would they rather have a genius like Michael Golden, who I think takes a really long time with his stuff, or would they have some mediocre guy who could get 10 things done by Tuesday?
Right.
And sadly, the requirements of the field, the stuff has to come out.
Well, that's why we had Coletta inking Kirby, and everybody complains about his approach there, right? Because he was fast, but he omitted a lot in the backgrounds and those sorts of things just to get the work done fast. So he was prolific, but in a bad way in a lot of ways. But publishers, wanted to keep him on because of those reasons, just because he got work done.
And with Vince Coletta, wasn't it? He quit work at 2 o'clock every day or something like that. And whatever he hadn't inked by 2 o'clock, it's like, well, he just erased it.
Now, I didn't hear that before, but it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he had to probably have some kind of philosophy on how he was going to get work done in a timely fashion.
Yeah, I think his technique was ink the essentials first because you need the figures, but any of the extraneous stuff like buildings in the background or whatever, if he wasn't done by 2 o'clock or whatever quitting time was, it's just like, oh well, just erase that. No one's gonna know.
Hmm.
And with Marvel in the '60s, I think it was just Stanley, Roy Thomas, and maybe Saul Brodsky. That was the entire production team, and they were producing a mountain of comic books with just this very small staff. So no one was going to complain to Vince Coletta and say, "Oh, Vince, you didn't ink those buildings back there." No one's going to remember that there were buildings back there. Jack
Right.
Kirby's already 6 comic books down the line. He's already working on all this other stuff.
Hmm.
Stan Lee's worrying about 10 million other things, and it's like you just got to the wheels have to keep turning.
Right. Right. No, it makes sense. It makes sense. But it's good to know that you're picky and you want to always, you want your best work shown, and you want to put a good product out there all the time.
Yeah, and I remember the in the early days, I started doing conventions in. I think my first convention was November 1987, and I did not always do my best work. Sometimes people would, commission something, and I, would just hammer it out. And as soon as the internet came along, I started seeing some things which I had not done a good job on. It's like, oh my God, my name's on that. So thanks to the internet, reminding me of all my past sins. Uh, you know,
I've had a few.
I never hacked anything out, but I put an extra effort. You know, if my name's going on it, I gotta do my best.
Mhm. I have had a few artists over time, contact me through CAF and saying, "Can you please ask that collector to take that down?" I'm so every time I Google my name, this piece comes up, and I can't stand it. And I'm like, "Well, you ask him. I can't tell a collector because he's showing it because he loves it. I'm sorry you don't like it anymore, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's kind of part of the game. It's not my fault he did something you don't feel. But I mean, as artists evolve and their styles change, I mean, they could look back at something from 10 years ago and just say that's just not representative of my work. I mean, they would never put it on their own gallery or on their own website to kind of promote themselves. But I mean, once you sell it, you don't have a lot of control over it.
Yeah, it's out there. It's out there, and you know, you can't control the internet. You know, once it's
No.
but with looking at older art, it is very much like looking at your old baby pictures. You know, no one else sees anything wrong with it, but you know want to die of embarrassment. Oh my God, look, I look like such a geek. You know,
Hmm.
and in a lot of ways, it's also like hearing your own voice on tape. You know, if you look at some old artwork, you're like, my God, I didn't do that. You know, that can't be me. And you know, when you at least with me, when I hear myself on tape, it's like, God, is my voice that squeaky? That can't be me. I sound different in my own head. I sound like more of a movie star, I guess.
Right, right. I do too, but I know that I've listened to myself too many times to know that I don't. Oh man, well let's look at some more art for sale,
Okay.
and let's see. We got another Red Sonja piece here for lot number 4. So lot number 4 is the cover to Red Sonja number 5. It's $2,500 as well. We've got several pieces at the $2,500 level. So if you like this piece, I think it's pretty cool. This one you would email Nicole at thirdeyecomics.com to let her know that you want to purchase this artwork, and it's again lot number 4. Yeah, I like this one. It's very. You think that this is like something that Sideshow would produce as a statue, right? I mean, it's just so darn cool.
Yeah, I'm really proud of this one. You know, the triumphant, iconic Red Sonja.
Only a little bit of blood on her blade, though.
Well, you know, she has to be delicate.
Yes, exactly. But no, I like this image a lot. I think it's just like you say, it's triumphant, it's powerful, and you get some background in here, like we talked about earlier. A lot of the times, you just are focused on the characters because of how you're doing the covers these days. And so here, even though it's all stone and rock and some skeletons, you're getting some grounding of the character in the space. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, somebody asked, how long does it take me to do a cover?
Yes.
A cover like this took, I think, 2 days. Yeah, one day, basically the sketching and the layout, and then another day for the rendering.
Now rendering, I mean, is it watercolor?
No, this is a combination of alcohol marker. Uh,
Ooh. Oh, that's right. I remember you telling me that the last time.
yeah, I use both Prismacolor marker and Copic markers. They're all alcohol based, and
Hmm.
alcohol based markers blend beautifully. The Yeah, the thing with alcohol based markers is they bleed into the paper, and if you can work with the bleed, you can get them to blend wonderfully, and you can almost get a watercolor type feeling.
Hmm. Well, that's why I
And
thought, initially that's how you were doing it. But wow.
yeah, and then I'll go in there afterwards with Prismacolor pencils, both hard and soft pencils, to just tweak things a little bit and get the shadows a little crisper, a little sharper. And I'll use Pigma inking pens for the black lines, and everything is rendered on Strathmore 2-ply Bristol with a vellum finish. Yeah, I've been using that stuff for 30 years.
Hmm.
And I'll go in there with different bits of acrylic paint for either the white highlights or the sometimes with Red Sonja, if I want her hair to overlap, I'll do that in acrylic.
Sure.
But yeah, it's a combination of things. I'm not a master of any one medium, but through doing comics over the past 30 years, I've just evolved the stuff that works for me, and I think the bottom line is whatever works, and
Mm.
especially with like I said, so much of my work is for publication. Um, if I use Crayolas, that'd be fine, just so long as it printed. The bottom line is whatever's going to print. If you can,
Well, it's back to that presentation question, right, from Ray, where presentation is the most important thing.
yeah, yeah. And of course, I do want my stuff to last, and I want it to, not fade. I've seen some of my art actually fade. People didn't have the proper UV glass in their frame, which is terrible. But yeah, I of course want the originals to hold fast and not fade.
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's, it's come up before with some of the Copic markers. People, are where they've left them out, and I think that some of it's kind of faded or whatnot. But it sounds like with all the different techniques going into this, and again, it's back to proper storage on artwork at the end of the day. If
Sure.
you're going to hang it up in a just a generic frame you picked up at Michael's, any art is going to fade. Whether, especially, I mean, we've seen various creators who used permanent markers that aren't quite permanent, or different kind of markers that they were using over time, and now it's like faded, and it's like practically a red or almost a gray now rather than being black. I mean, proper. And we do talk about this a lot, but anybody, when you buy artwork, you are the caretaker of that artwork now. It's really
Sure.
up to you to be sure that you're storing it properly and caring for it, because one day you might want to sell it, so you really don't want to treat it improperly. So anything can happen to a lot of artwork. This paper yellowing if you leave it out in the sun, those sorts of things. I mean, you see a lot of older artwork with just white border around the outside, and the center of it's yellow because it was put in just a generic frame and hung on the wall in the sun for
Oh
20
yeah,
years.
yeah. Even with UV glass, I would recommend not not putting your artwork in someplace that gets a lot of direct sunlight. That's
Mhm.
not a good
Very,
thing.
very true.
But
All right.
yeah, with my old artwork, I learned the hard way not to use certain things like Sharpies. Sharpies, they age terribly. They're like the worst thing on the planet.
Hmm.
Sharpies are good for writing on something right away, but Sharpies, there's some kind of yellow toxin that seeps out of them,
Hmm.
like a black Sharpie. And I've seen this on comic books that I've signed. It'll just over years, the yellow will seep out of the black. And
Huh.
I have some artwork I did back in 88, 89, where I wasn't thinking about it, because I didn't know any better. And yeah, now it has this like horrible yellow bleh that is bled out of the black. You can see where if I used any thin Sharpies, there's this yellow toxin spilling out of it.
Man, well, I haven't seen that, but I'm going to look for it now.
Yeah, actually, Richard Corbin,
Hmm.
I've seen some of his pieces where he had used a Sharpie. And we were talking about Howard Chaykin earlier. I read some interview with him where he said he didn't give a damn how it aged. He didn't care. He said after he sold it bad, it's your problem now.
Right. Well, that's Howard for you. Oh man, well, let's keep looking at the artwork here. We've got lot number 5 up next. This is from Hell Sonia, issue number 2, the cover to it, and it's $2,500 as well. Just, I mean, yeah, another skull there, Marcus. My wife won't let me own any artwork that has skulls on it, so I figured I'd beat him to the punch to say that there was a skull in this one too. But love the colors in this one. Love the tone and the figure. I mean, that must have been. I mean, it must again. It's that's got to be. I'm sure for you, it's like it's not a challenge, but to me, it'd be a challenge to go ahead and flip from doing flesh tone to the tone in the skin tone for this character now.
This was a nice challenge. I had to figure out how much of the of the fire would be reflected on her skin, because she's supposed to have this dark, kind of ashy looking skin, being a demonic version of Red Sonja. And uh, I tried adding a yellow glow, and that wasn't looking right. For some reason, the yellow wasn't going with the gray skin. So the all the highlights are more of a pure white
Hmm.
instead of a yellowy white. But yeah, this was a nice challenge. The Hell Sonja. I think I did 5 Hell Sonja covers.
I know we have 3 today, but yeah, this is I love it. I love the fire. I mean, it's just such a nice contrast between the figure, the color on the figure, even. But then you look at the more you look at it, you just that's why I'm always impressed with your work. I mean, you see the purple in the in her shoulder armor. I mean, well, even in her brassiere. I mean, it comes. You get a lot of variation in things that aren't noticeable initially, but you put a lot of effort into these just to make them dynamic from a color perspective, even when you're faced with having to use these very muted kind of tones, you're still getting a lot of color in there.
Thanks, and that probably comes from Frazetta, because Frazetta, his uh, figures always had a lot of different colors reflected on them, and every surface on the planet reflects to one degree or another. Uh, something like glass or metal, that's highly reflective. But even your skin, if you hold your hand over, like, say, a green piece of paper, you're going to see green reflected onto your skin. And so, Frazetta, he was a master at just pulling all these different colors in there. And with, like, say, the purple under the shoulder plate. Yeah, that's my Frazetta influence coming
Hmm.
out.
Well, it's brilliant, and the color and it just works so well. I mean, with the figure here and the flame.
So,
So
so you said
yes,
your wife has a rule with skulls, no skulls.
yeah, no skulls on the walls. So I end up not buying anything, even if it's something I'm gonna put in the portfolio. It's like, well, I'll never be able to display it. So I probably have a few pieces, but yeah, no skulls. So that is a running joke
So
here on the channel.
how does your wife feel about, like, say, something like Red Sonja, where she's got a skimpy outfit on? Is
Oh,
that
she'd be
more
okay with
acceptable?
that. Yep, that's
Okay.
fine. Yep, yeah. She loves Adam Hughes, art and style, and his cheeky humor and that kind of thing. But skulls are a no.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Hey, everybody's got their thing. I mean, I don't know what
Oh,
my
sure.
thing is, but that's her thing. Skulls, no. So, all right, well, let's move on to lot 6. This is a new character for this one. It's the cover to Sheena #7. So, lot 6 is $2,500. And again, if you want to claim a piece of artwork today, you need to email Nicole at thirdeyecomics.com. The first person to email her will get the reply saying that they got it, and subsequent emailers will not get a reply. But when an artwork is claimed, I will state it so that you know that it was claimed, and if you didn't get the reply, then you know you didn't get it. So tell me about doing the work on Sheena.
Sheena was a lot of fun. Yeah, I think I did 10 covers altogether, and yeah, she's the female Tarzan,
Hmm.
and I got to draw some animals, which I don't usually do. Um, there aren't too many animals in the world of Dawn, and that's because that's not really my forte. But I forced myself to get better at it, and I actually love the way this guy came out. There's another Sheena piece with a big old lion on it, and I'm proud of the way he came out too.
Yeah, that lion was incredible. We're going to see that one later.
Yeah, that I think it's important to force yourself into new strange waters. And I think at this point, I think I can draw anything that I set my mind to. It's just a matter of having the determination and the opportunity.
Hmm. Well, it's a fantastic job. I could never draw animals, so But yeah, this is great. This could be a tattoo.
Actually, this would make a fine tattoo.
It would. So, well, I mean, this one's still available as well. And let me change things here because we're going to another new character on this next one too. And this is, well, no, this isn't another one. Sorry. This is the cover of Red Sonja 3, a very touching image. I think this is lot 7, $2,500. And again, I mean, whereas it's just a change in tone here, Joe, but it's just an amazing job on the Red Sonja figure here.
Thanks. This was for the Red Sonja Mother series, and it's almost like a lone wolf and cub type thing, or like a Mandalorian type thing, where Red Sonja ends up with this kid that she has to protect. And these covers were actually fun because it, was a different facet of Red Sonja. She's wearing more clothing. She has a kind of a onesie on underneath her armor, and I think that was to downplay her sex appeal, because we all know Red Sonja is in a lot of ways very ridiculous. The chainmail bikini is silly.
Mm-hmm.
And if Red Sonja was real, she would look more like Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones.
Right.
Which that Brienne of Tarth is a great character and very cool, but there's something fun about the fantasy of Red Sonja. The sexy girl in a metal bikini.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing is lighthearted. And so much of every comic book is silly and ridiculous. I remember in what was it? The second the Incredible Hulk movie with where he fights the Abomination.
Right.
They never actually call him the Abomination in the movie, and I read some interview with the director where they felt that was too over the top. They wanted to keep things restrained a little bit. And it's like, here you have a guy who turns green and turns 8 feet tall and smashes things, and you're worried about calling the villain the Abomination. That's too over the top. And it's
I always wondered why they didn't use the Abomination name in the show.
They didn't want to go over the top with the name. It's like, and every superhero, every comic book is really stupid if you think about it. I mean, Spider-Man, he gets bitten by a radioactive bug and he can climb walls. Like, really? Like, how stupid is that? But if you go with it, it's cool. It's totally awesome if you go with it.
Yeah. They need to stick to the comics a little bit more at times, right?
Yeah, and if it works in the comics, I think it'll work on screen. And I think the better superhero movies actually, they're aware of that, and they embrace that.
Well, I agree with you there. That one's still available. We're going to go to lot 8 now. This is another Red Sonja cover with a dash of gore, I think, in it. A beheading and a de-arming in this piece. This is lot 8, and it's $3,000, and it's the cover to Red Sonja number 7. So if you want this one, you email Nicole at thirdeyecomics.com. And so was the art direction on this one, you needed to do a beheading?
I'm trying to remember. I think that was my idea. I think I think she was just fighting undead in this issue, and I think this is actually the Invincible Red Sonja number 7.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry, did I mislabel it?
It's a lot to keep track of.
I can go back and double check, but because you're probably right. I think I did do that wrong. Sorry about that.
Yeah, with the Invincible Red Sonja, the logo on those covers was based on the old Hulk logo, where like the Hulk logo from Hulk 181, where it's off on an angle, the Incredible Hulk. And so the Red Sonja logo was patterned on that. And with these covers, I actually tried to get the artwork to go with the angle. So if you look at the angle of her arms, it would fit perfectly with the angle of the logo.
Right. Man, there's never been a more beautiful beheading than this one. And I have to tell you, you are correct. It was I missed that. It was Invincible Red Sonja #7 cover. And even and Ferrucci just confirmed it as well. I'm amazing you can keep them all track. It's with the different titles on this, but yeah, great image on this one, very aggressive. And it's now I know why she's like a gymnast. That's why she needs to keep the outfit small. I mean, that's a magnificent leap to behead that creature.
Yeah, and with Red Sonja, I like to go back and forth between more glamorous, almost pinup type images, and then get nice action shots in there.
Well, you got that on this one. And Jeff Moy, I saw the question about a minute ago on time payments. Unfortunately, no time payments available on this show today. Sorry to let you know that. I know you've been buying a lot of art of late too, so that's probably why you're asking. So, all right. So this one's still available as well. And like we said, it is from Invincible Red Sonja #7. And that was my bad. Now we're getting a different character on this next one. So this one I know for sure we are. So this is lot number 9. This is $3,000 as well. It's the cover to Deja Thoris versus John Carter. And I mean, John looks pretty, I don't know if he's amused or if he's sad or if he's happy. He's kind of got a range of emotions going on right there. If he's impressed, if he's I don't know, but this is such a fun image, and and it has a bit more background. It's 3 characters on the page. I mean, that's beautiful. And I think we had a few Deja Thoris pieces in the last one, but I would have to believe it's got to be a lot of fun to tackle anything in the John Carter world for you. Just that's swashbuckling, fantasy, science fiction, all wrapped into one.
Oh yeah. I mean, John Carter was, they said it set the template for, that certain type of fantasy, and I'd love to do more. One of these days, I want to adapt a Princess of Mars. I just love that book so much, and I had a lot of fun with this cover. John Carter's had a rough day here, and I pictured, Deja Thoris saying, "Yay, we won, we won," and John Carter's like, "Yeah, we won," and he's the guy who has to take the beating. Nope,
Right, because he has. That's what I was saying. He's the one who's all bruised up and bleeding. She's just so happy.
So something that I love about Frazetta is his sense of humor in his paintings comes through every now and again, and I've tried to take inspiration from that. So whenever possible, I try to have a little fun. I think you can walk a line between having a little fun and not being too ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Oh no! Well, this cover gives you a lot to smile about. I mean, that's you don't always have to have the action shots between the characters. I mean, I think that these are fun moments, and they're just interesting approaches on covers, right? As far as you don't have to show the climatic moment on the cover to sell a book. You can be funny and still sell. So I like this approach a lot.
Yeah, I'm proud of this one.
And Wayne says that he would love to see you doing a Princess of Mars book as well.
Yeah, that a Princess of Mars is in the public domain, so literally anybody could do a comic book of it. And I'd like to be more faithful to the text. A lot of people I know like the movie, but for me, the movie actually strayed too far from the original book.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the original book had such a brilliant ending. And I was very disappointed that they didn't stick closer to that with the movie.
I would agree with you. Yep. I mean, I enjoyed the book immensely. So, but it was, I think a lot of people who were looking forward to that movie were disappointed as well, as at the end of the day, given how it performed and its place in film history.
And earlier I was talking about with the silliness of superheroes, and you just got to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
so much of the failure of that movie was they didn't embrace what it was, and the marketing. I mean, just calling it John Carter, that's like calling a movie Michael Clayton. It's like it's about a guy named John Carter. Like that doesn't tell you anything. It
Right.
should have been called John Carter, Warlord of Mars. And I think the marketing people got cold feet and they thought, oh, Mars is stupid. Nobody's gonna, but no, you got to go with it. You got to, okay, there are people on Mars. We got to go with it. That's what the whole story is about. It's been around for 100 years. It sold billions of copies over the last 100 years. Just embrace it and, tell people, no, Mars is cool. Warlord of Mars is cool. You gotta just get on board. But no, they chickened out.
Well, that's what you get when you get suits and marketing people that don't know the source material, making decisions. No risk takers at the end of the day, right? Or what they deem as risks.
Yeah, when I first heard that Disney was doing a John Carter movie, I was excited, and then I started seeing the marketing. It's like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they have on their hands.
Well, they definitely didn't. And yep, has gone down in history as one of the bigger flops in film history, I guess. So, all right, well, this one's still available. I want to move over to round 10 now, or lot number 10 here. Let's take a look at that one.
Somebody pointed out her blade is bloodless.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Wes saw that one. Yep. Okay, so this is lot 10. It's $3,000 as well. This is from Chasing the Dragon. It's the #1 cover. And you got the email address to contact if you want to claim this one. So tell me a bit about this one, Joe.
This was for a book put out by Heavy Metal's imprint, Magma Comics. And this was written by Denton Tipton, who was also the editor of Magma Comics. And yeah, that was a really cool miniseries. And I had a great time doing this. I think this is I think they had to go back to print with the first issue. And so that's where this saw print. The second printing of the first issue.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this was actually a very successful cover.
That's it's very moody. I like the green eyes.
Yeah, I believe this character she turns into a dragon, and so I was trying to invoke that.
So here's a question for you. A lot of times with comic book illustrators, I mean, they're typically just doing pencils and inks as well. But you're doing all the color work too, which is for the. I don't know if I'm going to ask the question right. I mean, I assume that you do the color because that's just your style, and you get to see it all the way through. But in a lot of ways, the people, say if you're working for a particular publisher or whatnot, I mean, they're kind of getting almost in some ways three creators in one. Dealing with page layout because you're like you mentioned how you're really focused on making sure the logos look good, but you're laying down all the colors too. You're doing the penciling, the inking, or the coloring in this case. So, I mean, do you prefer to work this way just because you want to have that full control all the way through from beginning to end? I mean, again, a lot of creators don't work in color.
With me, quite often when I start thinking of an image, quite often the colors come first.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just have a soft focus impression of something, and I'll think of like say like red and purple. Just those things will pop into my head, and then as I start sketching around, then it'll start to take shape.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I definitely dream in color, so my brain works that way. And there've been a handful of times where I've had other people color things, and it I've seen things come out nice, but that's too much of my imagination, which I don't like to let go of that.
Sure.
And like I said, quite often the image will start as a color impression, and from there I'll figure out the different chess pieces and how they move around.
So it's got to be in color. Well, that makes a whole lot of sense. All right. Well, this one's still available. We're going to move this along and go over to lot 11. This is the cover to Sheena number 3, and a bit more background on this one than some of the other ones, but very I just love this guy. So this is this is a $3,000. You need to email Nicole at Third Eye Comics if you'd like to pick it up. But this again, I like this image a lot. She's clearly in shock from seeing these mummified corpses, and I do think these classify as skulls for me too. So this couldn't be on my list, but but on this one, I mean, so what and for this piece here, I mean, you could have done the background digitally, I guess. I mean, so how does that come in on the decision making process for you, where you decide some things could be done digitally, but in this one you did the landscape traditionally?
This was an experiment to see if I could like with the background, if I could put those gray tones in there and then just darken the entire, like, she's supposed to be in a cave, and just about every piece I do has some facet of it that I'm trying something new on. And if I had finished this traditionally, I would have just masked out the figures and then just airbrushed the ceiling of the cave. But I was able to do that, in Photoshop.
Mm-hmm.
And the important things, the parts that are tough to do digitally. That stuff I do by hand.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, certain people, like I've played around a little bit with a stylus on a tablet, and I can definitely see the allure of switching over to digital. The different painting programs are so amazing what you can do these days. But I like getting my fingers dirty. I like working on paper. So yeah, the important parts, I still want to keep that handcrafted feel.
Well, it makes sense. It comes through on this one. So lot 11 is still available. We'll move over to lot 12. Another piece with this one's pretty much fully finished, right? This is this is lot 12. It's $3,000. This is another one from this Sonia Versal series of covers. This is to issue 10, and nice perspective on this one. You got that right, but a fun image of Sonia.
Yeah, and digitally on this one, I just tinted the background a little bit. I think I put a little bit of a red tint in the sky and maybe a little bit of a warm tint on the ground. And this was a step towards Brienne of Tarth. What would Red Sonja really look like?
Mm-hmm.
If she was gonna go into battle, she would wear more conservative armor. She wouldn't be bouncing out of her clothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Nick Berrucci just said very Game of Thrones feel. Yeah. The good parts on Game of Thrones were really good. I actually really loved the whole fight scene between Brienne of Tarth and the Hound. I thought that was a great fight scene.
It was one of the best, and I completely agree.
And one of the great things about that fight scene was she loses her cool. She completely goes nuts. And I think real people in a life and death situation, if some guy was like going to beat you to death, you would just start screaming and flailing. And she does that. She completely goes nuts. And she was able to basically beat the Hound, who, ordinarily, she would not be able to, but she loses her mind. And I think that was good. That felt real to me.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, a lot of things in Game of Thrones felt real, as much as it was about fantasy. I mean, that was what made it fun and appealing, I think, to so many. All right, so I was gonna say, so this one's still available too. So we're gonna we got 13 more pieces to look at. So I'm gonna kind of go through these. Let's see, what do we got next here? 13 is a Hell Sonia cover. This is the cover to issue 1. So Yeah, if I'd probably say Severed Hands would be number 2 on my wife's list. But so this one is $3,000 and lot 13. Again, just I'm in awe of the tone on the character. As far as the flesh tone, it's just awesome and just really really fun. And this is like an introduction to the character, I imagine.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I think the first issue of Sonya Versal had Hell Sonya, and I guess she was popular enough where they did a miniseries with her.
Oh, this has such good positive feedback about that character. That's cool.
Yeah, and the Severed Hand and the Burning Skull.
Yes, Ghost Rider guest appearances.
I never even thought about that.
No. Well, now I can't not think about it, right? But yeah, that's so very very nice image on this one. And again, this is the first issue cover, so that's really really beautiful as well to have. Love the blade design on this one. I think I'm sure you put a lot of thought into all of that, and even the type of like the filigree or whatever it is on the armor. I mean, that's got to be fun. Like you were talking earlier about getting requests for doing things like an Oriental style garb on a character. I mean, you must have a lot of fun kind of working those details out and putting that kind of detail into the characters.
Yeah, I actually love costume design, and I love designing things, and that sword, with the little demon head. I think that would look pretty cool in a movie, if I do say so myself.
I would agree with you completely. And again, nice lighting, right? On her hand, you've got the yellow touches there, so you're always thinking about all that stuff, and that's why it's just this is a totally beautiful image, even though it's a haunting one at the same time.
The dark side of Red Sonja.
Yes. All right, so let's see. We're going to move over to lot 14, and this is the last Hell Sonja cover that we have. So this is again lot 14. It's $3,000. It's the cover to issue number 4, done last year. So I love the on this one the the composition of the page. You're using the hair like that to kind of fill out the page a bit. Just really nicely done. And again, the tone on the character. Again, I couldn't do it, but you've done it incredibly well. And again, nice lighting on the character. Love it.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Yeah, my wife didn't want me to sell this one. She really likes the flow of the figure.
Yeah. And somebody had asked earlier about, I mean, do you use models, or I mean, at all, or like posable ones in studio, or do you photograph? I mean, do you just kind of does it all just come naturally to you, Joe?
I'd say it's like maybe 50-50. I get my wife to pose for me a lot. She's a wonderful model, and she's an artist also, so she knows how to articulate something, how to strike a pose, how to embody whatever it is I'm after for a certain piece. And then certain pieces, this one actually is completely organic, totally drawn off the top of my head. And yeah, I actually like going back and forth between, working with a model or doing something off the top of my head. My favorite art is a combination of realistic details with Joe's tribute to Hamlet. Very nice, Wayne. Yeah, like my favorite artists, they bend reality to their own vision. Everyone from Barry Smith to Corbin to Frank Frazetta.
Sure. Yeah.
They have realistic details. The artwork follows the laws of reality with in regards to like the lighting and the way the figures move. But there's a totally stylized vision of what a human being looks like. Another favorite of mine is Enki Bilal. His stuff is very stylized, but it creates a complete hermetic world. You know, his figures exist in a very tangible reality, and I've always wanted to do that with my stuff. You know, I know Alex Ross tries to get his stuff to look as realistic as possible, but you know, I like things stylized a little bit more. You know, which they say the only thing that anyone can really own is your mistakes, is your like if someone is like a perfectly formed human, they're bland. You know, they look like a mannequin. But if someone has some character to their face, whether their nose is a little long or their chin's a little strong or whatever, that gives everybody their personality and their own identity. And so with my stuff, you know, my mistakes, that's what defines my art. That's what makes my art different from the next guy.
Hmm.
And the same with, you know, Frazetta or Barry Smith or whatever.
Sure.
You know, I love Barry Smith, but certain things he draws really well, and certain things he doesn't. He draws some of the best hands. His hands are fantastic, but his leg anatomy is a little questionable. But that's okay. That's part of that's part of his character. That's part of his personality. You know, his
Hmm.
signature.
Sure.
And I wouldn't want to, you know, I wouldn't want to see Barry Smith go in there and start changing things if he, you know, suddenly took an anatomy course or something like that.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Definitely know what you mean. I like Barry's work a lot, but you know, but with every artist, you can probably look at things and say it could be done differently or whatnot. And it's just kind of but it's that signature style that attracts people to different artists. That's why we've got the audience that we have watching the show today, because they love your work. You know, there's something special about it, and you know, sometimes you can't put your finger on it. I mean, to me, it's your use of color and your approach to the figures, but you know, everybody's got their own, you know, reasons for liking the different creators. So, hey, next two pieces are Betty pieces. We haven't seen any Betty. I think these are the only two that we're going to see today, too. So let's see, what is it? Lot 15 is the next one. This is the I covered a Betty Page issue 5, and it is $3,000. A classic Betty image here. So in white, no less. I mean, that's maybe not a color we'd be used to seeing her in, but it works really well. You know, or more of a cream, I guess.
Yeah, I love this one. I'm very proud of this one.
No,
You know, Betty is such an icon. She's, you know, the pinup queen, and yeah, one of these days, I've actually talked with the guys at Dynamite about writing a either a Betty Page special or a miniseries. And one of these days, I'm going to do that.
yeah. I mean, you should. I mean, that's you do you. I think you got the essence of the character down clearly, or the character person down. And you know, just very classic. And I just had to highlight this one. Wayne said that he owns 19 mistakes by Joe, and he loves them all.
Thank you, Wayne, for the kind patronage.
Now, I didn't see them as PlayStation buttons, Crispy, but I did. I noted the X's and O's on there when I was making the graphic for the show. um, Wes wants to know if you've ever drawn Marilyn Monroe.
I have a couple of times.
Now, those
Yeah.
like convention requests, or just something for hire?
Um, nothing, nothing for hire. But I mean, I think 2 or 3 times, at least twice. I've done portraits of her, and yeah, that was fun. I did the cover of Cry for Dawn #9 has a Marilyn homage. I have Dawn striking the famous calendar pose,
Hmm.
which God, I think I did that in 1993. But yeah, Marilyn is a big influence on me. She, you know, is the most glamorous pinup girl of the 20th century. Yeah, she just had it all, and
No, good.
so much of uh, glamour photography or art is about projecting, and Marilyn definitely knew how to project.
That is very true. This even they always talk about her flaws, but she was incredibly vivacious, and it came across and pretty much like you just said, like in the photographs or in their films. So yeah. Kevin Chapman asks about Prince for any of these. Do you take Prince to shows, Joe, when you go out?
I do. I will have prints, I'm sure, of some of these at HeroesCon.
Okay. Well, there you go, Kevin. If you're going to HeroesCon or Baltimore later in the year, you could probably pick some of these up as prints during those shows. Do you have an online store, Joe? I mean, I know we've talked about your website a few times, but do you actually, I know a lot of people do like those, Redbubble and different places that you can easily pop a store up. Have you ever done anything like that?
I have not. I need to.
Yeah.
I'm behind the curve on that, but I need to do that.
That's because you're too busy doing covers for Nick.
That's what it is. It's all Nick's fault.
Oh man! All right. Well, lot 15 is still out there at $3,000. The cover of Betty number 5.
And I never thought of the X's and O's as PlayStation buttons.
I didn't either. I just thought it meant it's hugs and kisses as far as when I looked at it. But PlayStation buttons, it is for the moment.
Why not? Why not?
All right. So here is this is lot 16, $3,000 as well. This is the cover to Betty Page Alien Agenda number 4. And you get more backgrounds on this one too. Like you had mentioned earlier, you got to do when the backgrounds require more detail, it's easier to do it in a traditional form. So that's why you did this one. And the whole Aztec theme here is wonderful. And seeing Betty dressed like that, I mean, it's fantastic.
Oh, cool. Yeah, this was these covers were a lot of fun. Every issue had a different. She was in a different time period. There's one with a Greco-Roman feel. There's another one with an Egyptian feel. And here, she's in Mexico.
That's sweet. Kevin's asking about buying any of the prints by email. I don't know. You could probably contact Joe through his Facebook page and make an inquiry, but I don't know if you ship prints though, Joe.
Actually, not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time. It's just me and my wife, and we're far too busy with other things to take care of that, and I wouldn't want to do that type of thing and screw it up.
Right. So, Kevin, if you have a friend going to any of the shows that Joe's going to, that would be the way to get it done. Wes mentioned Jim Silky here too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's much easier at a convention to just sell things and hand them off.
I don't blame you. Though I had to pack over 30 pieces of art as part of that last Comic Art Live I did in May, and I mean, it was great getting the art out, but I regretted every minute of doing it because my kids weren't here. That would have been a job I would have said, okay, hey, Gwen, I'll pay you $20 an hour. Start packing art for me. Here's the mailing labels and whatnot. So that was I don't like shipping art at the end of the day. So I don't blame it. But hey, I should let everybody know that lot 15 has sold. That was the prior piece, the Betty in the cream outfit. So with the X's and O's, by the way.
Very nice.
Yes. So the ice has been broken before we get to the recap. That's what we like to have happen. All right. So this is a very nice piece, but again, I think all of them have been great. And I actually didn't look at the other Betty covers, but I want to see the Greco-Roman piece now. I'm going to have to check that out after the show.
Yeah, I think that's number 3.
All right, number 3, issue 3. All right, so moving right along. Next up is a Sheena piece. This is the cover to Sheena number 1.
Sheena number 1.
Yeah, this one's $3,500. You got the email address on there, Nicole@thirdEyeComics.com to claim it if you like. And we've got some. Is this a lemur or
a lemur?
Yeah.
Yes. I've never had an opportunity to draw a lemur before, and I've always thought lemurs were the craziest little creatures. So yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Right. I love the tree. I mean, I don't know. I've always been a sucker for jungle images, even back when John Byrne was drawing the X-Men in the Savage Land, right? I mean, there's nothing like a good gnarly jungle tree with ivy on it and and whatever else. So this is sweet. And Sheena looks great on this one. I mean, I looked at the published cover. I mean, it was a fantastic image. I mean, for number one issue.
Oh, thanks. This was a lot of fun, and yeah, getting in there and drawing the bark and all the gnarly elements of a tree. That's fun. When I did the Claws miniseries from Marvel, that takes place on a deserted island, and yeah, drawing jungle stuff is fun. And one of the things I hate drawing is buildings. I hate drawing things that require a ruler. That
Right.
That's a drag. I mean, if I could get a team of assistants, that's the first thing. I would have somebody, Bob, you're the guy who draws the buildings. You draw the backgrounds.
Well, you're gonna need a bigger studio, Joe.
This is true.
All right. Well, this one's going to be still out there. This is lot 17, $3,500 for the cover to Sheena 1. And it's a favorite of several people in the chat. But let's move on to the next piece. And this is one we talked about earlier, cover to Sheena number 2. This is lot 18. Just the fantastic lion on there, and a great image of Sheena. This one's $3,500. And, again, a lot more background on this one just because it fit the composition. But, man, you nailed that lion, man. That is awesome.
He was a lot of fun. Lions, they're so unique. A lion's head, I think Frazetta pointed out that lions have a very long skull, and they're almost more like horse skulls than cat skulls. If you compare a tiger's head to a lion's head, they're completely shaped entirely different. And,
animal skulls aren't good here either, guys. Just answering. and I have to let everybody know the prior lot, the Sheena number 1 cover, has sold as well.
Very nice.
But no, I actually, I'm always amazed when I see skeletons for animals, because it's like seeing a bear skeleton. I don't even remember where, but I was just always shocked. It's like, it looks more like a dog. I mean, it's not what you expect. You have these creatures with like you said, with it's more of an elongated face. But who would have guessed it until you saw the skull? I mean, that's really especially when they have fur on them and that sort of thing. So but yeah, man. But again, you nailed this one here. This is very, very beautiful.
Thanks.
And I didn't look at the published piece for this. I'm just curious what you did in the background of, around her and the lion. What color?
I think it's pretty much just a blue sky.
Okay.
Behind her. But yeah, when since I don't consider myself a natural animal artist, I'll look at the way different people have broken down different animals, and like say with this guy, I looked at different Frazetta drawings because he's a genius at drawing animals, and I looked at actually a lot of Disney stuff for the way they drew the lions in like The Lion King. One of the brilliant things about all the design stuff in The Lion King is they take these complex creatures and they break them down into very very basic shapes. And I think that when drawing something like a lion, if you get the basic shapes down, then you can just make it look all pretty by putting detail in the hair and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you need the structure underneath. You need the architecture to be right.
Well, wonderful job on that one. We're going to get a new character for this next piece, and it's the only one we have of the day. And this is the cover to Vampirella Holiday Special number 1. This is lot 19, and it's $3,500. And I did include the cover image on this one because I was kind of curious when I looked at the way you handled the background on this one. I was like, well, I really wanted to see how you handled, what you did with the with the published piece. So I decided to show that one here since I thought it gave a good sense of your direction on working with the character on this one.
This was a lot of fun, and I've done a good handful of Vampirella covers, but they don't often leave the house because my wife Christina loves Vampirella, and if I do a nice Vampirella piece, she just calmly says, "Well, this isn't leaving the house." And yeah, I actually had a fight with her to well, not fight with her, but I had to negotiate with her to let this one go.
Well, she's got good taste. I mean, your Vampirella is always very sexy, very well done, and I mean, once you sell them, you can't get them back. And well, and just to let her know, this one did just sell. So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think even in the last one we did, we only had a couple Vampirella pieces. So yeah, I know that you don't let them go too often.
No, and like I did an entire series with Christina. She had written a Vampirella mini series called Roses for the Dead,
Hmm.
and being as that was her first um, serious bit of comic book writing, I gave her all the originals. So she owns all the originals for all 4 issues, the interiors and the covers, and so yeah, by by negotiating with her that way, I'm able to sell other pieces like this one.
Oh man. Well, that's good though. I mean, we as collectors we talk about how in many cases our spouses do support our habit. I mean, some don't, but by and large many do, right? So in this hobby that we all love, I mean, even on your side of things as a creator, it's nice to have a spouse who you kind of get to work with and bounce ideas off of. I mean, she's an artist as well, and so I mean, what a gift, right? I mean, that's a joy every day to have that kind of camaraderie.
Indeed, and I'm so lucky because Christina is actually a fantastic editor, and she has a fantastic eye, and she forces me to bring things up a little bit. Every now and again, I will, for example, do a Vampirella piece, and I'll show her the sketch, and she'll say, "That doesn't look like your Vampy," and I'll be like, "What are you talking about?" And she'll point out, you do this a little differently. Your Vampy looks, you know, you need to change this. That doesn't look right here.
Mhm.
And so she helps me stay on target and helps me bring things up another level.
That's great. I mean, that's true collaboration there. Even at the end of the day, I mean, it's great to have the someone there at any time to kind of give you editorial thoughts on things. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things we might disagree about, and I'll say, I like this way, and she'll say, no, 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 that has to be that way. But if it's something I feel strongly about, since I'm the guy painting it,
Hmm.
but yeah, her insights are just about perfect.
Will she be with you at Heroes?
Yes, yes, Christina
Good,
will be there.
good, good, good. Again, I haven't seen the both of you in a long time. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Yeah. All right. So we have 6 more pieces to look at here. So next up is lot 20. This is $3,500 as well. This is the cover to issue 1 of Invincible Red Sonja, and a very powerful image with several slain gentlemen at her feet. And on this one, I just love the way that the brown tones kind of they don't stop at her boots. Essentially, you kind of had that working up through to her knees. It just as an overall image, it just kind of added to the powerful feel that the character has in here. It just kind of grounded her in a way that I thought was just really really cool. And this is just a powerful image of Red Sonja.
Yeah, thanks. And this is me totally, connecting with my inner Frazetta. Frazetta was a genius at manipulating lighting, and so many of his pieces, uh, have this theatrical, dramatic lighting where there's a spotlight, boom, on say the torso of one figure, and everything else is in this deep shadow.
Hmm.
And one of my faults as an artist in my younger days was I wanted to put a shiny highlight on everything, and if everything has a shiny highlight, that flattens everything out. So I keep forcing myself to like limit the highlights and put more shadows in there. And I think this piece uh, actually works really well. I rolled the dice, and like I said, I'm always trying new things. I'd never done this kind of controlled lighting on a figure before. But yeah, I think it works.
Yeah. She is no Deja Thoris. She's bruised and she has blood on her sword.
Yeah, and you know, I try to draw these girls differently. Sonia is more athletic than Deja Thoris. Deja is a princess, so she doesn't break her fingernails too often. But yeah, Red Sonia gets dirty, and she can kick butt. So
Mhm. Yeah, like Dwayne Zapane's comment. I like to think she killed them with their own weapons here.
yes.
Oh man! All right. Well, this one's lot 20 still going to be out there as well. It's at $3,500 and covered it Invincible Red Sonja #1. We've got 5 more images to look at here. We're kind of going back to John Carter with this one. This is from John Carter of Mars, issue 4 cover. It's lot 21, and it's $3,500 here. And again, more background on this one. I like this one a lot. That's why I used it for the thumbnail of the show. It's just, you know, again, lovely use of color and just fantastic. So like everything else we've looked at today.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm really proud of this one. Yeah, I think I'll definitely have a print of this in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I almost didn't want to let this one go.
Well, I can see why. I mean, again, she's, you know, just, you know, to me, I love the purples, but the green, you know, the highlight in her face is just so, I mean, it just made that kind of makes the image for me, but she's such a beautiful character here. You know, again, it's just everything rolled into one as far as the things that I love about your work. You know, you've got the armor, you've got the beautiful woman. She's curvy, like always, but and then just your use of color on this, carrying the purple over into the Throg's, you know, head, and I mean everything, just beautiful.
Thank you, sir. So with this guy's severed head, would that freak your wife out? Would that,
yeah, it probably would be against the rules. Hasn't quite reached skull status yet, but yeah. It's probably, I don't know what I've never asked. I've never asked why it's an issue, but what are you gonna do? But yes, great image here, and again, the cover to John Carter of Mars #4. Let's see, we've got 4 other ones, and the final 4 images are all Red Sonja covers. So, and they're top notch, each and every one of them. This is lot 22. It is $3,500, and this is the cover to Red Sonja 18. And I don't think it had an Invincible or anything in the front of that one, right, Joe? It was just Red Sonja 18 on this one.
Yeah, this is just Red Sonja 18. Yeah, I've worked on, gosh, I guess 4 or 5 different Red Sonja series for Dynamite, and initially they had me working on. It was a brand new #1. And I think it ran for 28 issues. And yeah, I did covers for all 28 issues. And yeah, this was number 18. And
again, a lot of backgrounds on this one. Again, you know, like you said, when you need to render anything in the landscape or a statue like that, I mean, you end up doing it. But this just really adds to the piece, you know, where you just have, again, it's the composition's great. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I'm actually really proud of this one too. She also would make a great tattoo.
Yes, she would, man. But yeah, this is a little bit early. This might be one of the older pieces in the set that we're showing today. This is from 2020.
Yeah, it's strange to think of a 2020 piece as older, but yeah, I've just been so prolific, so busy with these Dynamite covers.
Well, we can thank Nick for that. Nick has helped bring a lot of original art into the hobby, you know, thanks to his Dynamite and everything. And I think that it's just great. You know, he's found a lot of different talents out there and brought them, you know, got their work published first in many different ways. So yeah, Nick's done a lot of favors for the hobby by getting all this great artwork out there, and in particular for hiring you to do so many of these covers.
For which I'm eternally grateful. And Nick is a true patron of the arts. And
Yes, he is.
yeah, Dynamite. They're doing good stuff. They're doing good stuff.
I've got a Dynamic Forces piece hanging up right beside me.
Oh, really?
So
What? Which one?
it's a Alex Ross. It's that Dave Cockrum homage from I forget what issue that was, 107 or whatnot, with the full team kind of coming at you. That's what it was assigned. So it's a signed print by Dave and Alex. I've had that. Bought it at like a Warner Brothers store back around 1999 or 98 or something. So I just I never really I think that was like probably right when I started collecting original art, and I was still I haven't really bought prints too often probably since then, but early on, there were some times where I'd pick up a print when I couldn't afford the originals, and I was still just trying to understand what the hobby was all about. But I still love this piece. It's huge. It's like movie poster size, and
That's a great piece. That's a brilliant piece.
I would love to own the original if I had $30,000. So, all right, we'll see. We got 3 more to go here. This one was I chuckled when I saw this one. I just love the humor in it. This is lot 23 for $4,000. It's to Immortal Red Sonja #3, the cover, of course. And Red Sonja has no friends. They're all foes. I just love this. And the booty shorts too. I mean, I'm not quite sure, it's a different look for her, but yeah, I love the all foes, no friends approach to this piece.
Not a very popular girl.
No, she doesn't make friends easy.
Yeah, on the Immortal Red Sonja, the idea was to I think it takes place earlier in her career. So they broke out her old Barry Smith outfit from I guess Conan #24, where she had the kind of like chainmail shirt and her little booty shorts. And yeah, it was actually great fun drawing her in that outfit. Yeah, I think that just wrapped up. I think I just finished #5 last month.
Mm-hmm.
Or #6, I forget which. But yeah, that was fun, and I'm actually very proud of this one.
Well, you should be. I looked at this and I just see, it's a romantic expression on her face. I mean, everything. She's just such a beautiful. Well, you draw her very beautifully. She's not always the most beautiful character in the world, but I mean, I look at this and I think of many like classic illustrators who drew beautiful women. Like Gil Elfgren and hell, Romita Senior. Right at the end of the day, I mean, it just has that.
Oh yeah,
classically beautiful look to her, and in the way you've drawn her. And I mean, in that kind of so again, there was a lot of reasons why when I looked at this one, this was one of my favorites, just because the humor, and she's just drawn so beautifully. And maybe even having her hair up makes me even think a little bit of Romita Senior there too. But again, just fantastic work. And again, a lot of, you've got the castle in the background, you put a little bit more into this piece, so that's why it's a little bit more expensive. But yeah, Gren, kudos to you on taking the approach on this one like this.
Yeah, friend or foe?
Friend or foe. All right, 2 more here. A very aggressive piece here for the second to last one. This is lot 24. It's $4,000. It's the cover to Invincible Red Sonja issue 2. So this is the pre-image to where everybody's got different devices stuck into their chest, whether it's a battle axe or someone else's bow and arrows. But yeah, they don't stand a chance. Doesn't matter how many, whether there's 6 or 600, she's going to clobber them all. But yeah, another great cover on this one.
Yeah, and I'm also dipping into my Frazetta influence on this.
Mm-hmm.
So many of Frazetta's paintings have a triangular composition. And yeah, I mean, if you think about the classic Frazetta Barbarian, the Conan, where he's standing there on the pile of bodies, it's a big triangle. And yeah, so this is a big triangle, and yeah, I like this one.
No, it is a good one. She is hell bent to destroy them all, and she's definitely got a cleaving grip on that sword with her hands not being together on it. She is just gonna rip through multiple characters with one swipe, I believe.
With one swipe.
Oh man. All right. So last but not least, lot 25. I'd say this is the most finished of the bunch, but man, this is only because you know, in this one, you know, you could have done the backgrounds digitally on this one, but you went all traditional top to bottom on it. And tonally, this thing is amazing. I mean, again, I can't own it because all those, you just put too many skulls on this one, but you know, man, you know, and so on this piece, okay, so it's lot 25, it's $5,000. This is the cover to Invincible Red Sonja 5. Why on this piece did you decide to go ahead and paint the whole thing versus doing this one digitally? Was there what was the reasoning behind that?
I think it was a time element. I think this month I only had to do 3 covers, and so
Oh.
therefore I was able to. I mean, ideally I would be able to fully paint the backgrounds on everything, but if I have to do, you know, say 4 or 5 covers, uh, you know, I have to take you know, shortcuts. But this
Hmm.
one, I really love the figure, and when I fall in love with a figure, I want to, you know, uh, want to give her the best presentation, the best background, you know, to create the full image, to flesh things out. And yeah, um, I think this one came to me in a flash. So you know, sometimes with a cover, I'll just have a blurry impression, and then I have to like wrestle around with it to bring it into focus. But
Hmm.
other times, I'll get like like a snapshot of what the entire thing looks like. And this, yeah, this came to me pretty much complete in my head, in my mind's eye, and it was just a matter of getting everything down on paper.
On this one, I really like, you know, it's more painterly. You know, you look at the hair, um, you know, the musculature. I mean, I know, you know, a lot of all your work is very painterly, but it has that, you know, I could look back on the prior lot, right, where there's a little bit more line work maybe done in the hair to kind of give it a border or definition. But on this one, you know, you really went all painterly on it. You know, this is like your full Frazetta for you, where you're not, you know, you're not. It's beyond illustration in this piece. It's all painting. I mean, you get a little definition line in the sword, sure, but everything else is just so supple and you know, and just it feels like a painting. I don't look at it and think this is an illustration, right? I mean, even down to looking at, I know we can't look at super detail into the skulls or the background and everything, but everything is just so painterly. You know, I love it.
Oh, thank you,
And
Bill.
and it's back to, you said you had time. You know, you had more time, and so I think it looks like across the board, you had the ability to put a lot more effort into this one.
Yeah, and you know, I keep thinking that at some point I'm going to paint my ultimate Red Sonja piece. And so whenever I come up with a composition which might fit that bill, you know, I try to, you know, roll up my sleeves and like, okay, let's do the ultimate Red Sonja. And yeah, I think this is in my top, probably my top 5 Red Sonjas that I've done.
Well, deservedly so. Eric asked about whether it's oil or acrylic. It's neither. I would imagine, right? This is like we talked about earlier. It's a bit of mixed media across the board.
Yeah, this is mixed media. The figure and all the details are done in a combination of Copic marker, Copic alcohol based markers, and pencil and acrylic paint. And then the background is pure airbrush,
So you
which
used
is,
to you,
you
you
know,
used to.
I use airbrush, Dr. Martin's airbrush paint,
Mhm.
which I guess is a type of acrylic, a very thinned out acrylic.
Well, if only you had time to do them like this all the time. But that's the trouble with being, you know, when you're on a schedule and you got deadlines. But yeah, this is fantastic. And Wayne says he's got his eye on this one, so he's pondering. What is it? Would this would be number 20 for Wayne? if my memory
Yeah, right.
serves me correct.
20th Mistake by Joe Linsner.
20 Mistakes. That's a book. It's a
Yeah.
small book, but so listen, we're going to go ahead and recap all the pieces that haven't sold.
Okay.
We've gone over 2 hours today, so I appreciate everybody who's hung out with us, going through all the artwork today. It's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate that. But let's go ahead and take a look at the pieces that did not sell. We've got 23 of those, so I'll just kind of go through those one at a time, starting back at let's see, we got to go all the way up over here to lot 1. So lot 1 was the Sony Versal number 7 cover that was priced at $2,000. That one's still available. Of course, you can email Nicole at nicole@thirdeyecomics.com. And I should let everybody know that we have a lot of people who watch the shows after the fact. Now, Joe is going to be sending all this art to Nicole tomorrow afternoon. So if anybody were to see any of these lots that we're reviewing here right now and we're not announcing as sold, you're more than welcome to shoot Nicole an email. Up until that point, she'll let Joe know if any pieces get sold after the show that they need to get shipped over to Nicole as well. So you've kind of got that luxury, but it only lasts till about noon tomorrow. So if you see something after the show, please get with Nicole quickly. So this was lot 1 for $2,000. Lot 2 is still available. Jennifer Blood number 3 cover, priced at $2,000 as well. Next up is lot 3. This was the cover to Red Sonja number 2. This one was priced $2,500. Just a great image of Red Sonja there. Like Joe mentioned, more clothed in this one than in her traditional outfit, which we're going to see. Well, no, we're not going to see that one for a little bit longer, but this is Red Sonja 5 cover. And this is lot number 4, and it was $2,500 as well. Great image of her. Triumphant, I think it was what Joe had said. And let's see, lot number 5, Hell Sonja number 2 cover. And this one is $2,500 as well. And this was the first Sheena artwork that we showed today. This was lot number 6. It's $2,500, and the cover to issue number 7. And back to Red Sonja with this one. This is lot number 7, and it's the cover to Red Sonja 3. This one is $2,500. And lot number 8, $3,000 on this Decapitation. This is the cover to Red Sonja number 7. And disarming and beheading. But that's what you do with the undead. That's what they deserve. So let's see. The next one is lot number 9, Deja Thoris versus John Carter, number 6 cover. This one was $3,000 for lot number 9. And again, email Nicole at nicole@thirdeyecomics.com if you'd like to pick up any of these ones that didn't sell. We got lot number 10 next. This was the cover to Chasing the Dragon number 1, and this one's priced at $3,000. And Joe, you said this was like the second printing of the book?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I know when I Googled it and had your name on it, that was all I saw on the Google Images results was this image.
Maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it was the first printing. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and look. But yes, very, very great covers we talked about earlier. So lot 11 is the cover to Sheena number 3. This one is priced at $3,000. And lot number 12 is the cover to Sony Versal issue number 10, $3,000 as well. And we've got Hell Sonja number 1 cover here with lot number 13. And great lighting on this one, of course. And this one is priced at $3,000. You get a Ghost Rider in here. You didn't even know it, but it's an added bonus. So this is lot 13 at $3,000. And here is the another Hell Sonja piece, lot number 14. It's the cover to issue 4 at $3,000 as well. And lot number 15 did sell. That was the Betty Page, the first Betty Page that we showed. So this is lot number 16, the cover to Betty Page Alien Agenda number 4, priced at $3,000. And let's see, lot 17 sold. That was the cover to Sheena number 1. So next up is the cover to Sheena number 2. This is lot 18. And again, with the great tiger image in the back. This one's priced at $3,500. And let's see what we got. Oh, that's right. Lot 19 did sell. That was the Vampirella Holiday Special cover. And so next up, we've got the cover to Invincible Red Sonja #1. This one was lot number 20, selling for $3,500. And we talked at length about this one and the color and the triumphant triangle image on this one, where you're channeling some Frazetta on this piece. Lot number 21 is next. This is John Carter of Mars #4 cover, and this one is priced at $3,500. And next up, lot 22. The next four are all Red Sonja covers. This is lot 22. It's $3,500, and it is the cover to Red Sonja 18. And the lot 23, $4,000 cover. This one's from Immortal Red Sonja #3. Classic costume on that one, I guess you would say. It's kind of like Black Widow. Every time I see Black Widow drawn in her original costume, I kind of do a double take. I'm like, I don't remember that, and then I remember. It's always a shock though when I see it, because I immediately I just never recognize the Black Widow classic costume.
Do you mean the original?
Yeah, the one with like the stockings and the
weird little mask and everything.
Yeah. I always look at it and it just doesn't register. I look at it and I'm like, who is that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember. Because I think the first time I saw it, I said it. I was standing next to another collector and they were like, duh. I'm like, well, no, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I'm not a scholarly collector as other people, but
with the Black Widow, when they gave her the black one piece, that is like so perfect that it doesn't have any connection to the previous outfit.
No, it doesn't. It's the last thing you think of when you see it. See the character. There is no connection.
Yeah, and the previous outfit, that it looks like some goofy costume that she'd wear to some masquerade or something. Whereas, the black with the gold wrist things and the gold belt. I mean, that's like such a perfect costume.
Right. I completely agree. It doesn't need anything but that. So here, second to last piece, the lot 24, $4,000 for the cover to Invincible Red Sonja #2. And see Wayne saying 23 and 25 are very tempting. They are, Wayne. They really are. Probably definitely, like I said, 23 is probably my favorite piece in the set, but 25 is just a stunner. But 23 makes me smile every time I see that image of her with the friend and foe checklist and nobody on the friend side. Yeah, everybody's talking about the underboob on this one too. I agree. Very well done. That
is something more underboob here.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you do it well, Joe. You draw from experience. I'm sure you've seen a few underboob in your time.
Her outfit is not painted on. It shifts around and
exactly.
And the human body, it's made up of movable parts. So
well, that's
only makes sense.
Everybody that I've ever talked to about your art, they always say Joe draws women like women should be drawn. You don't make them, you make them like they are, and that's and in a world where everybody kind of works towards ideals and everything, I think that your art is refreshing and beautiful all at the same time, and it's one of the things that has always been appealing about your art, is you put all the curves in there, right? I mean, I guess you could say Frank Cho draws a lot of curves too, right? But for me, you were right there first, drawing women like they should be drawn, drawing guys. I mean, it's one of the things that I've always admired about your approach to the figure is you don't go after that waist that's only a size 16, right, or whatever. It's just not. It's kind of like it's not in your vocabulary, and it's a good thing. It's all we shouldn't always be drawing like the ideal, because they're not ideal, right? They're not realistic half the time, kind of characters, and but you never feel that way when you look at a piece of art of yours.
Oh, Bill, that's a fantastic compliment, and I'm inspired by the world around me, and like I've seen different videos these days where they'll show you how much an image is manipulated for like say Vogue magazine or something like that.
Right.
And what they'll do is they'll Photoshop out little bits where, like say, a bikini bites into somebody's skin. And for me, those are the parts I try to put in. I try to put those realistic details in there to make it more tangible, to make it leap off the page a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And with, like say the way I draw girls, the world is filled with beautiful girls, and they don't need to be stylized. They don't need to be, they don't need to have an 18-inch waist or whatever ridiculous thing. And I just try to capture the beauty that I see around me, and my girls are stylized, but I try to balance it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to get the reality in there, or at least my impression of the reality I see.
Well, I see it. I think you're a master of that, and I get it when you say it's stylized, but that's part, like we were talking about earlier about how Barry Windsor Smith maybe doesn't draw legs well, but that's just part of his style. Every creator has their style, and that's what makes them appeal to collectors or or people buying comics and all those sorts of things. And it's again, I've always loved your work, and like I said, you're the first person I ever commissioned a piece of art from at a con. I just had, I think I'm going to have to get something from you at Heroes. I mean, I actually did just pick up a piece from Anthony Snyder. I don't actually put it already away in a portfolio. It was a Medusa piece. So
By me?
Yeah. Now you want me to show it to you, don't you? I can
If it's handy.
Well, it's not as handy as it should be, but I think I didn't actually get it into the portfolio yet. Let's see. I'm saying David Peterson piece I recently picked up as well.
Nice.
But yeah, right there.
Oh wow. I remember that.
2008.
Wow. Yeah, she's a fun character. I'd love to actually do more with her.
Yeah, no, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And here, I'll show you this other piece I picked up. It's a Lealoa convention drawing from 1977. And again, I know you'll appreciate this. I always wanted something by him. I ended up getting a Spider-Woman page, which is really what I wanted. But I just got that like a week ago. But this came up about a month and a half ago, and so I ended up buying it first. But here, let's take a look at that.
Awesome.
Isn't that amazing?
That is awesome.
I mean, I was so happy when I was like, "Yep, that one's a cool one."
Wow.
And you don't get this. I love Lealo's. Whether it was his pencils or he was inking somebody, he just had such a really nice style. And
I love his work. He's a big influence.
Yeah.
And he's a super sweet guy. I don't know if you've ever met him.
I don't think I've talked to him, but I've been around him when he's in either at panels or conversations. And yeah, he seems like a really genuinely nice guy.
Great guy. And so incredibly talented.
I will not disagree with you. I was so happy when I picked up the Spider-Woman piece, because I was like, that's really where I first got turned on to see his work, and then I learned more about the work that he had done previous to that. But yeah, well, so listen, I don't want to keep. We've been at this for 2.5 hours, and not a moment of it was boring at all.
I've had a great time, and thanks to everybody for chiming in for commenting.
Yes, and Wayne mentioned about my Medusa that you can never go wrong with a redhead. That is very true. Very, very, very true. So like I did mention, though, anybody, up until noon tomorrow, you can claim these still through shooting an email to Nicole at thirdeyecomics.com. After that time, Joe's going to be emailing the artworks that sold to them to do the fulfillments. So unless there was somebody who picked one up that asked to be delivered, and I guess we can work that out. I don't get to know who bought any of the artwork, so Nicole would be coordinating with Joe and I after the show. But if anybody's on the fence thinking about it, you've got less than 24 hours to think about it. But you can claim these anytime before noon tomorrow. And yeah, but Joe, thanks as always, man. And I can't wait to get together with you at Heroes. And it's gonna be a blast. And I guess we're gonna be having dinner together in Baltimore.
All right.
In the fall.
Sounds good.
Oh, and well, wait a minute. I can announce one other sale that just happened. Lot number 2. That was the Jennifer Blood cover has sold as well. So
Very nice. Very nice.
just got that text from Nicole. So I have a feeling a few more of these pieces are going to sell now that it was a lot to digest. 25 covers at one drop is a lot. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can, everybody knows my email address. You've got Nicole's. We could certainly, answer any questions people might have after the show, but Bill at Comic Art Fans is mine. So, happy to answer any inquiries about the pieces that you saw today.
Bill, real quick, let me ask you, what's the biggest number of pieces you've ever offered like this?
Believe it or not, I've done a show with like 60 in a couple hours. Yeah, we did a show with an art rep, and we had, I think, about 6 of his artists with him on camera, and we just kind of, it was more, but we didn't do much of any interview at all. We didn't talk, but it still probably took about 2 hours because he figured 2 minutes per piece, and we got through it in about 2 hours. But yeah, and as little as say 10 and as many as 60 I've done, and yeah, it all works out good. But when we do these shows, I really enjoy just getting to hang out and chat. So I think that's why everybody tunes in as well. Because again, even at a con, nobody's going to get to talk to you for an hour straight, Joe.
Definitely not. And I must confess, quite often at conventions, my brain turns to jello, and I'm lucky if I can sign my name. There have been times where, like say a big crazy show like San Diego or something like that, in the middle of like a busy day, somebody will hand me a comic book and I'll stare at it for a second, like, what am I supposed to do? Oh yeah, my name, right? I just get so frazzled.
Right.
And that comes from the, I work in isolation, and I'll talk to like my wife a couple of times during the day, but for the most part, it's a very quiet environment. And then in conventions, like, you're thrown into the deep end of the pool, and I'll have like 200 little conversations with different people, and my pea brain can only handle so much.
Mm-hmm.
So this is better. You're getting a better Joe Linsner right now. More focused, more together.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Joe, doing this again with us. They're always a lot of fun, and I'm glad we got to move some art. That's always the most important thing, getting art into the collector's hands.
Ain't that the truth?
It is the truth. So yeah, I look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks. And again, thank you for doing this, and thank you for everybody for tuning in. I think at one point we peaked at like 155 people watching us live. So I always appreciate people tuning in. If you like the show, subscribe to the channel, put a thumbs up on it, like Nick keeps telling everybody to do, and leave a comment too. Come on, everybody likes comments on stuff, so we like that too. So all right, Joe, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. All right. Have a great afternoon, everybody.